Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. Sign in from the womb, born as a major antagonist. Chapter 1. Where am I? Jishu woke up from a daze. Opening his eyes, he looked around at the extremely unfamiliar surroundings. It was as if everything here was in chaos, with no visibility. But he could feel that he seemed to be immersed in a warm ocean. Warm seawater soaked his body, and he felt an extreme soft and warm sensation all over. Wait, why are my hands so small? Oh my god. Why is there a cord on my belly? Quote ? Quote. Jishu's mind raced. Finally, he came to a conclusion. He had traveled through time. And, he had even traveled to a world where he was still an unborn baby in his mother's womb. Phew. Jishu took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He began to review what had happened. In his memory, he was reading a fantasy novel called Immortal Emperor, Unparalleled. Suddenly, a white light appeared before his eyes. And then he arrived here. As his thoughts reached this point, a character interface suddenly appeared before Jishu's eyes. Name: Jishu. Age: 0 years old. Identity: heir of the first military family of the Northern Xia dynasty. Life status: unborn. Cultivation: none. Techniques: none. Essence of destiny: 0 points. Fate level: black, soul destroyed and fallen. Jishu carefully examined his character interface. He immediately understood what was going on. It turned out that he had traveled to the world of the fantasy novel, Immortal Emperor, Unparalleled. And, his identity was actually the future biggest villain of this fantasy world. The same named and same surnamed demon god Jishu. Of course, that wasn't the point. If Jishu remembered correctly, the point was that the fate of this big villain was extremely tragic. He was even considered the representative of the aesthetic in the online literature world. And one of the most tragic villains in the online literature world. The setting of the villainous big boss in the novel is a crazy, critical, lovesick character. A substitute who jumps off a building and is a masochist. Before becoming the villainous big boss, Jishu was a young master of a military mansion, unknown and carefree, with fine clothes and a spirited horse. But, later, his family was destroyed, his parents died tragically, his cultivation was abolished, and he was finally thrown into the most terrifying ancient abyss on the continent. He suffered the excruciating pain of 10,000 demons devouring his bones for a whole 1,000 years before returning from the abyss and growing step by step into the most terrifying villainous big boss. Sitting in the middle of the Demon King, with the gods standing on both sides. Ruling the 9 heavens for countless ages, worshipped by all races, and all the celestial immortal emperors bowing down as his subjects. And the novel tells the story of the awakening of a powerful Goldfinger as the illegitimate son of a sect's male protagonist. And the female protagonist, who reincarnated from a world 10,000 years in the future, back to the world 1,000 years ago when Demon King Jishu was at his peak. The two of them join forces to kill the still immature Demon King Jishu in his cradle and save the future world. On their wedding night, a divine nail is driven in. Hearts are dug out, bones are picked clean, and the sky is stained with blood. Separated by yin and yang, the demon god Returns to ashes. The light of righteousness shines upon all living beings. Jishu recalled the plot of the novel. He couldn't help but think that if all these events were to happen to him, it would be truly miserable. You talk about time travel. Why did he have to travel to become such a pitiful and crazy villainous big boss? After he was born, although he would be the most powerful and influential young heir of the entire Northern Xia dynasty. The problem was that not long after, not only would his cultivation be abolished, but his family would also be destroyed. And even worse, he would be thrown into the abyss and suffer the pain of 10,000 demons devouring his bones for a whole 1,000 years. Not only that, there was actually a chosen male protagonist who awakened his Goldfinger. And a female protagonist who came back from a world 10,000 years in the future, whose goal was to kill him. The future: family destruction, hearts dug out, blood staining the sky. This is too tragic. Thinking of this, Jishu suddenly felt very bad. An ominous star. The future was destined to be dark. There was no hope at all. Perhaps that was why his fate level was pure black, soul destroyed and fallen. This was truly the ultimate disastrous start. Just when he was feeling extremely helpless, a clear voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding! Congratulations, host, on awakening the check-in system. Would you like to check in here? ... Upon hearing this, Jishu trembled all over. System. Check-in system. He had read hundreds, if not thousands, of novels before he traveled. Naturally, he knew what the appearance of a system meant. Goldfinger. This was something that could change his destiny. Phew. Jishu took a deep breath and without hesitation, he spoke up. System. Check-in. System. Check-in. As soon as the words fell, Jishu heard a pleasant system prompt in his mind. Ding! Congratulations, host, on a successful check-in in the womb. Congratulations, host, on a successful check-in and receiving a 9-star reward, Divine Heart Demon Bone. Congratulations, host, on a successful check-in and receiving an 8-star reward, Immortal Devouring Demonic Technique. Boom! In the instant the system prompt sounded, Jishu felt an unparalleled strange power gathering in his chest. And then it exploded like fireworks. Chaos energy surged, and the immortal river roared. Brilliant light fell between his limbs and bones. A heart shining like a star was beating vigorously, emitting supreme immortal flames. Suddenly, Jishu felt as if he were standing above the heavenly path, able to overlook all living beings throughout eternity. Gods, demons, immortals, all were like fleeting clouds. At the end of time, there was only an invincible being. Divine Heart Demon Bone, Spirit Ascension of Enlightenment, Unparalleled Cultivation Potential, the most powerful among the 3 major killing realms throughout eternity. Rating: 9-star Supreme Bloodline. The 3 major killing realms of Divine Heart Demon Bone, Demonic Advent, Divine Prohibition, Immortal Ash. Demonic Advent. Burning demonic flames, blood pupils of the other shore, the descent of a demon god, exponentially increasing combat power, capable of killing enemies across 8 small realms at the highest level. Awakening Condition. 10,000 Essence of Destiny. Divine Prohibition. Taboo of the Gods, breaking through the shackles of the heavenly path in body and soul, a combat realm that only the ancient great emperors of the legendary level are qualified to enter. Awakening Condition. 100,000 Essence of Destiny. Immortal Ash. A killing realm beyond the heaven grade, unknown power. Awakening Condition. 1,000,000 Essence of Destiny. Immortal Devouring Demonic Technique, the #1 method of demonic body refining, and also a transcendence demonic technique that can devour the origins of others to enhance cultivation. Rating: 8-star Transcendence Demonic Immortal Technique. After carefully reading the introductions of the Divine Heart Demon Bone and Immortal Devouring Demonic Technique he obtained, Jishu couldn't help but be stunned. If he remembered correctly, the Divine Heart Demon Bone was a top-tier physique in the novel. It was the ultimate body after the bloodline evolution of the main antagonist, the demon god Jishu. The 3 major killing realms with their heaven-defying power were even terrifying weapons beyond comprehension for the gods and immortals who were high above. As for the Immortal Devouring Demonic Technique, if Jishu remembered correctly, this demonic technique was the ultimate profound technique that the main villain, after being thrown into the abyss of eternity and suffering for 1,000 years, comprehended in despair. It was with this profound technique that Jishu gradually grew into a slaughtered demon god that made the gods and immortals tremble. So you're saying, I haven't even been born yet. And I've obtained the 2 ultimate configurations that only the main villain has. A complete reversal, a perfect start. Jishu was pleasantly surprised and thought to himself, finally feeling a lot more relaxed. Now that the rewards have been received, the first thing to do now should be to make good use of the excellent cultivation environment in the womb to cultivate the Immortal Devouring Demonic Technique. This way, my physical body and meridians can be tempered and strengthened. I must ensure that no accidents can hinder my birth in a few months. After being born, I can consider awakening the killing realms. Jishu quietly contemplated and quickly formulated his survival strategy for the future. He remembered that in the original novel, he was the only heir of the Ji family. And he was also the only successor of the Ji family military mansion in the future. Therefore, there were many important figures in the Northern Xia dynasty who did not want him to be born, including the all-powerful emperor who is currently sitting in the Kyoto Imperial Palace. Jishu sorted out his thoughts and silently made plans in his mind. Let's start cultivating from the womb. In the future, I won't be a cannon fodder, let alone a great injustice. I definitely won't let the tragic fate from the original novel happen to me. Whether it's enemies in the present or enemies in the future. Kill them all. From this moment on, I will become the decisive villainous boss. His thoughts stopped there. Jishu rubbed his hands together and excitedly stretched his little feet. Immortal devouring demonic technique. Preparing to start cultivation. Changing the predetermined fate from the novel starting from this moment. Northern Shah Dynasty. The moonlight was bright, it was deep autumn, and red maple leaves were falling in Kyoto. In the Ji family military mansion, the security was tight. Well-trained guards in armor protected the entire military compound. Magnificent pavilions and towers appeared in the thin mist of autumn. The sound of flowing water from small bridges was gentle. In a pond, precious fish swam, creating ripples. In a small stone pavilion, an elegant and graceful woman in a simple palace dress sat on a stone bench, gently sprinkling fish food into the water. Under the moonlight, her dignified and beautiful face was full of tenderness. Standing beside her was a tall and sturdy man full of charisma. The man stared nervously at his wife and the slight bulge on her abdomen. He was afraid that his wife's movements would startle her and cause problems for the child in her belly. This man was Ji Shao, the current head of the Ji family in Kyoto and the iron-blooded general who commanded the 800,000-strong army of the Northern Shah dynasty. The beautiful woman was Lin Ru, Ji Shao's wife and the daughter of the head of the Northern Shah Royal Cultivation Academy. Wife, take it slow, don't move too much. Ji Shao anxiously spoke. Husband, don't worry. Neither I nor the child are that fragile. Lin Ru smiled. But at that moment, her brows suddenly furrowed. A look of pain appeared on her elegant and beautiful face as she covered her abdomen with her hand. Wife, what's wrong? Ji Shao was startled and quickly went to support her. His nervous eyes carefully examined his wife, afraid that something unexpected had happened. It's nothing. This little one just kicked me. Lin Ru gently caressed her abdomen with her tender hand and smiled helplessly. Phew, that's a relief. Ji Shao finally breathed a sigh of relief. By the way, husband, have you thought of a name for this little one? Lin Ru looked up at Ji Shao with a gentle gaze filled with starlight. Ji Shao nodded and then smiled as he spoke. Wife, I've already thought of it. If it's a girl, let's name her Ji Chu. If it's a boy, let's name him Ji Shu. In the womb. Ji Shu listened to the sounds from the outside and couldn't help but smile. In the original novel, his own father, Ji Shao, and mother, Lin Ru, doted on him, the young heir of the Ji family. They even wished to give him the whole world. Even when the entire family was annihilated. They didn't hesitate to sacrifice their lives to give him a chance to survive. It can be said that they were the best parents in the world. As for himself, they truly loved him. Thinking of this, Ji Shu's heart couldn't help but stir. Before transmigrating, he didn't have the love and care of parents. So, the warmth he felt now was exceptional. At the same time, he felt a sense of urgency. The tragedy of my future. The tragedy of the family. I won't let it happen. Since I have come to this world. Naturally, I must protect myself and my family. Ji Shu secretly made up his mind. Then, he began to prepare for cultivation. In the early and middle stages of the novel, the cultivation realms were divided into foundation building, chi refining, life soil, star gathering, monarch grade, saint grade, legendary level, veiled divinity, and emperor grade. And now, it was the best environment and opportunity for foundation building. In the womb, there was the purest innate chi in the world. Once he was born, he would never have such pure innate chi to absorb. So, foundation building here was undoubtedly the best choice. Saying it and doing it. Ji Shu raised his little hand and lightly touched his forehead. Clang! Dazzling starlight emerged. Strange magic patterns were pulled out one by one. Then, the starlight and magic patterns formed a peculiar light array. Immediately, the light array entered Ji Shu's newly formed little body. The first layer of the immortal devouring demonic technique, it refines the meridians and can forge divine grade meridians. How strong a cultivator's potential is, how powerful their combat strength is, and how far they can go on the path of cultivation in the future all depend on the strength and toughness of their meridians. Jishu silently thought, if he completed the cultivation of the first layer of the immortal devouring demonic technique, then, in the future, the amount of true essence his meridians could hold and the speed at which they operated would be dozens of times that of an ordinary cultivator. It was not an exaggeration to say that if he succeeded in forging divine-grade meridians, then he would be able to easily defeat dozens of cultivators of the same level in the future. Let's begin, Jishu whispered to himself. Then, according to the operating path of the first layer of the immortal devouring demonic technique in his mind, he began to guide the purest innate chi here to refine his meridians. Clang, clang, clang. Jishu clasped his hands together, and a blazing starlight burst forth. Mysterious magic patterns flowed in the tiny veins. From this moment on, his meridians began the most powerful transformation in history. A day quickly passed. The innate chi in Jishu's meridians had completed one full circulation. Although it was only one circulation, Jishu already felt physically and mentally exhausted. But what surprised him was, his meridians seemed stronger and wider. And, the most important thing, after a day of cultivation, he now had the ability to see inside his own meridians. With a glance, Jishu could see that there were faint and mysterious starlights flickering in his weak and tiny meridians. There were also mysterious magic patterns and more starlights, as if countless rivers were converging into the sea, integrating with his meridians. Great, this is the effect I wanted, Jishu exclaimed excitedly. Then, he quickly suppressed his excited heart and continued to use the innate chi and the immortal devouring demonic technique to refine his meridians. He knew very well that this was only the beginning. Only when quantity turned into quality, that would be the time when immortal devouring demonic technique reaches the first level of perfection, and also the day when divine-grade meridians are forged. Before birth, tempering the soul refining level meridians. Cultivation must reach the perfect stage of foundation building. Jishu secretly set a small goal for himself. You should know that in the profound heaven continent, even a peak genius with a once-in-a-millennium transcendence talent would need at least 3 years of cultivation from the age of 3 to reach the perfect stage of foundation building. But for Jishu, the few months in the womb are more than enough. Because he already possesses the bloodline physique of a ceiling-level divine heart and bone. Coupled with the 8-star transcendence technique, immortal devouring demonic technique. And, being in the womb, a unique and excellent cultivation environment in the world. The right timing, favorable geographical conditions, and the right people. With the combination of these 3 factors, Jishu is fully confident that he can reach the perfect stage of foundation building before he is born. And this is not just an ordinary perfect stage of foundation building. It will be the most perfect stage of foundation building in history. None can compare. No armor in the belly. Time does not know the years. Jishu doesn't know how much time he has spent in his mother's womb. Every day, he diligently absorbs innate chi to forge his divine-grade meridians. One day, the absorption of innate chi automatically stops. As if awakened by fate, Jishu suddenly opens his eyes. Internal vision. He sees that every meridian in his body is shining brightly. Innate starlight, like a miracle, and they are arranged perfectly, in perfect harmony with the trajectory of the heavenly Tao. Not only that, the magic patterns on the meridians have disappeared, as if they have merged perfectly with his meridians. At this moment, Jishu couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief and whispered. The perfect stage of foundation building. The most perfect stage of foundation building in history. Furthermore, my most formidable divine-grade meridians have also been successfully forged. Comfortable, yes, at this moment, Jishu's meridians have already reached the supreme level of divine grade. His cultivation has also reached the perfect stage of foundation building. You should know that many cultivators in the profound heaven continent may not even reach the perfect stage of foundation building in their entire lives. But Jishu, who hasn't even been born yet, is already a cultivator at the perfect stage of foundation building. And he has also forged the most powerful divine-grade meridians in history. If this news were to spread, not to mention the profound heaven continent, Even the descendants of the gods in the higher realms, the orphaned heirs of the great emperors, the sons of the divine dynasty, and the young masters of the longevity family would probably cry out in astonishment. However, Jishu is not too proud, because this was already part of the plan. After all, he had the right timing, favorable geographical conditions, and the right people. If he couldn't achieve a perfect foundation building, it would be unacceptable. Just at this moment, Jishu suddenly felt a violent tremor, and the amniotic fluid surrounding his body was slowly flowing away. A cold air rushed from his spine to his forehead. At the same time, there were sounds of excitement from the outside. Hurry, hurry, the lady is about to give birth. The young prince is about to be born. Everyone in the G mansion, get busy. Oh my god, finally, this day has come. Our G family's young prince is finally coming. Phew, hearing this, Jishu took a deep breath and whispered in his heart. The time has come. I am finally going to be born. It was night. G family military mansion. Fallen Maple Palace. Lady, push harder. The young master is about to come out. Okay, I'll push harder. Quick, lady, push harder. The servant has already seen the crown of the young master. Ah, he's coming out. The young master is coming out. ... Meanwhile, at the moment of Jishu's birth, the sacred light of the star dawn soared into the sky from the fallen Maple Palace. In an instant, the starlight exploded, filling the sky with radiant colors. The entire night sky was filled with infinite stars, as if celestial beings had descended upon the world. The stars fell like snowflakes, painting the entire capital city as if it were a beautiful realm like the 9 celestial immortal realm. The demonic beasts of the 100,000 mountains outside the capital city cowered on the ground, not daring to move. And this was just the prelude. What truly shocked people was, in the depths of the starry night sky, there were scenes of terrifying and miraculous celestial lights, reflecting the entire world. A single lotus amongst the eternal azure heavens. Golden sea of bitterness illuminates the world. Bright moon rises over the sea. A mortal king overlooks the 9 heavens. ... The appearance of these 4 miraculous scenes instantly shocked countless people in the capital city and even the entire profound heaven continent. 4 scenes of celestial lights appearing at the same time. Even if one were to look through the ancient history books, they would not find such scenes. ... On this night, the 3 top imperial dynasties of the profound heaven continent were all shaken. On this night, the 7 major cultivation sects of the profound heaven continent were thrown into chaos. On this night, countless powerful figures in the profound heaven continent began to stir restlessly. Investigate, quickly investigate if any great emperor has descended upon Tianquan tonight. Investigate, has any old fellow on the continent achieved the status of emperor? Investigate, has a treasure of the immortals appeared in the world? Investigate, has the forbidden heavenly gate, closed for thousands of years, reopened? Has the path to immortality been restored? At the moment when the 4 celestial scenes appeared, the top figures in the northern Xia dynasty's circles, and even the top figures of the major cultivation sects in the entire profound heaven continent were alarmed. These influential figures, with their keen senses, were truly afraid that a crisis was approaching or that they would miss out on some opportunity. Therefore, they must find out what happened tonight. Soon after, the number 1 institution in the world, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, stepped forward and made an announcement. Nothing happened tonight. Only the birth of the young master of the Ji family in the northern Xia dynasty. With just a short message, the gazes of countless powerful figures turned to the Ji family military mansion, which was enveloped in strands of celestial light. At the same time, they fell into silence for a long time. Since the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion had spoken, the news could not be false. After all, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion was the most reputable intelligence organization in the profound heaven continent, with a history of tens of thousands of years. At this moment, countless powerful figures in the profound heaven continent sighed. At the moment of birth, the appearance of celestial lights, the figure of the ancient great emperor. A miracle. Truly a miracle. The birth of an imperial prince. It seems, the great era is approaching. Dot 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 dot. The profound heaven continent was in turmoil. And tonight in the capital city, it could be said that some were happy while others were worried. The forces hostile to the G family were restless, fearing that if the G family were to produce an emperor-grade powerhouse in the future, it would lead to a major crisis. The forces allied with the G family, on the other hand, secretly rejoiced, as they would rise along with the G family if they were to produce a great emperor in the future. But no matter what, smart people sensed one thing. After tonight, the entire capital city, and even the northern Shah dynasty, would likely be different. Dot 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 dot. G family military mansion, outside the fallen Maple Palace. Ji Shao looked up at the divine phenomenon in the starry sky, his mouth wide open. After a long time, he stuttered and finally managed to say, my son actually has the figure of a great emperor. It wasn't just Ji Shao. The elders of the Ji family military mansion were also dumbfounded. Even Ji Nu, the former head of the Ji family and Ji Shu's grandfather, who was a marshal of the state, was stunned. Although the cultivation talents of his son and daughter-in-law were good, both of them reached the monarch-grade cultivation level in their 30s. But no matter how good they were, it was unimaginable for the Ji family to produce a grandson with the figure of an ancient great emperor. That can only mean, the heavens bless our Ji family. Ha ha ha. Ji Nu laughed heartily, tears streaming down his face. You old fool, take it easy. Seeing her husband laughing so heartily, Mu Hua, Ji Shu's grandmother, couldn't help but scold him with a smile. She raised her hand and slapped Ji Shao, who was still standing there in a daze, urging him. You foolish boy, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and take us to see our precious grandson from the Ji family. Upon hearing this, Ji Shao suddenly snapped back to his senses. He quickly led the two elders and pushed open the door, entering the fallen Maple Palace together. In the fallen Maple Palace, Ji Shu quietly lay in the arms of his mother, Lin Ru. Lin Ru looked at the little one, who was as delicate as a porcelain doll, and kissed him affectionately. It seemed as if Ji Shu was her most precious treasure, cherished dearly. He. Ji Shu grinned at his exhausted and haggard mother. He thought to himself, his mother had really worked hard. Lin Ru exclaimed, other babies cry loudly as soon as they are born, but this little one came into the world with a smile. My son is truly a little genius. Clang, the palace doors opened. Ji Shao hurriedly ran to the edge of the bed and grabbed Lin Ru's hand, trembling as he asked. My lady, are you all right? I'm fine. Lin Ru smiled softly, then gently handed Ji Shu to Ji Shao. My lord, quickly hold your son. All right. Ji Shao nodded eagerly, like a chick pecking at grains. Before taking Ji Shu, he instinctively wiped his hands on his clothes. He was afraid of dirtying his own son with his hands. After taking Ji Shu, he, the general who commanded an army of 800,000, grinned like a fool. My son truly has the aura of a great emperor. Ha ha ha. Ji Shao proudly held Ji Shu above his head, his tiger-like eyes sparkling. All right, don't scare my precious grandson. Mu Hua, seeing this, quickly took Ji Shu from Ji Shao's hands and carefully protected him in her embrace. That's right, don't scare my grandson. Ji Nu also glared at Ji Shao, his gaze fierce. But when his eyes landed on Ji Shu's chubby little face, they instantly softened with affection. Ji Shao was truly stunned by the speed of this change in expression. The little one is so handsome. I've always said that with just this face, he can make countless girls on the continent go crazy. You really have no seriousness. Mu Hua laughed and scolded. But she also agreed that her grandson's face was indeed the most handsome in the world. Of course, compared to his face, she was still prouder of her grandson's talent. It's worth mentioning that she was the person in the entire Ji family with the highest cultivation and talent, without a doubt. Ji Shu was aware of this. In the novel, his grandmother, Mu Hua, had extremely high cultivation. And her background was terrifyingly strong. Before marrying his grandfather, Mu Hua was the junior sister of the previous palace master of the Divine Ice Palace, the #1 cultivation sect in the profound heaven continent. In terms of seniority, even the current palace master of the Divine Ice Palace had to address her as senior sister. And if it weren't for the incurable hidden illness in Mu Hua's body, which caused her cultivation to stagnate at the peak of the monarch grade. She would probably be a saint grade powerhouse in the legendary level by now. It's not an exaggeration to say that his martial grandfather had married into a higher position. Show her, be good. In the future, Grandma will personally teach you cultivation, okay? Mu Hua lovingly reached out and rubbed Jishu's little nose, holding him in her arms and playing with him for a while before reluctantly handing him over to Lin Ru. Then she turned around. She had a serious expression and spoke solemnly to Ji Xiao and Ji Nu. After tonight, everyone in the capital, even those with a little power on the continent, should know that our little baby has the talent and aptitude of the ancient great emperor. So, there will be no shortage of people with ulterior motives. In the future, we must prioritize Shour's safety. Anyone who dares to harm our little baby, even a single hair, will be wiped out, regardless of who they are. Understood, understood. Ji Xiao and Ji Nu, father and son, nodded eagerly. They also understood the importance of the matter. While Ji Shu lay in Lin Ru's arms, he whispered to himself. Grandma is mighty. In fact, in his plan, he didn't want to cause such a big commotion. If he could quietly grow and swallow all his enemies in one breath, that would be the best. But unfortunately, his godly physique and the divine grade meridians forged before birth, achieving a perfect foundation building, combined with the infinite starlight and the terrifying light of the four great immortals. He couldn't suppress it. Now that things have come to this, there's no need to dwell on it anymore. The low-key prodigy route is no longer possible. Then, the invincible route of pushing aside all enemies seems pretty good. Ji Shu changed his mind earnestly. And it turned out to be true. He was the kind of person who didn't like to be underestimated. Even if he tried to pretend to be weak and strike like a tiger, he couldn't do it. So, it's better to push aside all enemies. With a powerful background, starting with 2 full-level configurations, and the support of the system. If I can't push aside all enemies in the shortest possible time, then I really deserve to die. That's what Ji Shu thought. Kyoto, the Northern Sha Imperial Palace. A middle-aged man stood in front of a flower pond. Moonlight poured down, falling on his cold and majestic face. He was tall, dressed in a black dragon robe, exuding a terrifying aura of authority. His name was Long Tian, the emperor of the Northern Sha dynasty. The Kyoto tonight, truly bustling. Long Tian's voice was cold, and his eyes, as dark as a raven, were even colder. Just then, a shadow fell in the shadow of the lotus pond. Soon, a very soft and gentle voice sounded. Your Majesty. It has been confirmed multiple times. Nothing happened today. Only the birth of the Ji family's young prince. The heavenly mechanism pavilion has confirmed it for us. As the voice fell, a man dressed in a purple python robe, with a soft and beautiful face, slowly walked out of the night. He was Yu Huatian, the head of the western factory of the Northern Sha dynasty. He was also one of the top 10 powerhouses in the Northern Sha dynasty, with unfathomable cultivation. Lord Yu, does the young prince of the Ji family truly possess the aura of the ancient great emperor? Long Tian suddenly turned around, his gaze fixed on Yu Huatian, confirming once again. Yes, at the moment of his birth, the light of the 4 great immortals fell upon the 9 heavens. Even if you search through ancient history, you won't find anything like it. To say that he possesses the aura of a great emperor, would probably be an understatement. Yu Huatian took a deep breath, his soft and beautiful face filled with emotion. Upon hearing this, Long Tian slammed his fist on the stone table, gritting his teeth and speaking in a very cold tone. The Ji family, they truly have good luck. Lord Yu, tell me the truth. Can we get rid of him? Yu Huatian shook his head in response. Now, the young prince of the Ji family, Ji Shu, has become an absolute taboo that cannot be touched by the Ji family. Unless, Your Majesty wants to completely break ties with the Ji family. No. After pondering for a moment, Long Tian waved his hand. He was somewhat wary as he spoke. Ji Xiao and Ji Nu control the most elite 800,000 iron floating pagoda army of the Northern Sha. And Lin Ru is the daughter of Lin Mo, the dean of the Northern Sha Royal Academy. If I were to turn against them, the dynasty would fall into chaos. And the most terrifying thing is, Mu Hua. This woman is backed by the #1 cultivation sect on the continent, the Divine Ice Palace. If the old woman in charge of the Divine Ice Palace is not dead. No matter what, I cannot break ties with the Ji family. Yes, Yu Huatian nodded. For the Northern Xia royal family, the Divine Ice Palace, the #1 cultivation sect on the continent, was too intimidating. If the woman in charge of the Divine Ice Palace, who was sitting in the palace, did not die. Even if the Northern Xia royal family had 10 times the courage, they would not dare to break ties with the Ji family. That being said, however, there have been rumors in the mainland. That person in the Divine Ice Palace seems to have encountered some problems in her cultivation. She doesn't have many years left to live. Yu Huatian suddenly spoke, reminding in a sinister tone. I have also heard of this rumor. But as long as she is alive, I cannot make a move against the Ji family. So, we still need to find another way. Long Tian stroked his chin and spoke cautiously. That's right, Your Majesty, why don't we use the hidden chess piece that has been laid out for many years? Summon him back to the capital. Place him in the Ji family and wait for the right moment to strike. Yu Huatian whispered in Long Tian's ear. Good. That's the only way. Long Tian nodded solemnly. Then, he immediately issued an edict. Yu Huatian, you must immediately summon Ji Wujin back to the capital. I have put in so much effort to cultivate him as the most trusted confidant by Ji Shao. Now is the time to put him to use. Yes, Your Majesty. In the far north of the continent. Divine Ice Palace. Snowflakes fluttered in the air. In the depths of the Divine Palace, a tall figure stood at the top of a 10,000-year snow-capped mountain. She wore a white dress, her black hair tied up high. Her beautiful face was pale as paper, with a touch of abnormal crimson. She stood on top of the snow mountain like a holy and flawless ice goddess. Her eyes, as if they had seen the vicissitudes of the world, gazed in the direction of Kyoto in the Northern Xia for a long time, lost in thought. Sister, congratulations to you. A woman let out a sigh of relief and murmured. Her voice was as cold as ancient ice, but at this moment, it was filled with infinite tenderness. Master, what are you thinking about? A young and crisp voice sounded. Upon hearing this voice, the woman lowered her head and looked at the little girl in white sitting on a piece of ancient black ice beside her. The little girl appeared to be around 3 or 4 years old, with cascading silver hair that fell to her waist. Her exquisitely delicate face was filled with innocence, and her bright smile could melt ice and snow. She seemed like an unreal snow elf that had fallen from the heavens to the mortal world. However, no one could perceive. In the ice-like bright eyes of the little girl, there was an authority and nobility that did not match her age. Binger, today, the master is very happy. Do you know why? The woman gently stroked the little girl's hair and asked in a soft voice. Why? Mu Bing looked up at the woman. Because the master's sister, who is also your unseen senior sister. Her grandson was born, and that child possesses the rare transcendence talent. I believe your senior sister is very happy right now, so, the master is also happy for her. The woman spoke softly, her face filled with a gentle smile. Is that so? What is the name of your senior sister's grandson? Mu Bing asked absent-mindedly. Well, he is called Ji Shu. The woman responded. Ji Shu. Upon hearing this name, the delicate and beautiful smile on the little girl's face instantly froze. And her body began to tremble slightly. Images also flashed through her mind involuntarily. One person slaughtering an ancient divine dynasty, causing 8 million cultivators to perish in an instant. One person single-handedly fighting against 9 immortal emperors, making the immortal emperors weep blood. The creation of a dark dynasty after countless ages. The wailing of all races. Sitting among the demons, with the gods standing on both sides. Ruling over the 9 heavens and 10 earths, he is unrivaled. Thinking of these scenes engraved in her heart, a growing killing intent emerged from the depths of the little girl's eyes. Demon God Ji Shu, you have finally been born. In this life, I will never let you go. Even if I perish and fall, I will stop you from creating a dark dynasty after countless ages. Just as Mu Bing made this silent vow in her heart, the woman's body suddenly swayed and she let out a muffled groan. A trace of beautiful blood overflowed from the corner of her mouth. Master, are you all right? Mu Bing snapped back to reality and supported her own master. Hee. The master is fine. It's just an old problem. Binger, it's getting late. Let's return to the palace. The woman wiped away the blood from the corner of her mouth and smiled at Mu Bing. Although she said so, it was evident that her injuries were severe. Yes, master. Mu Bing nodded with a downcast mood and then took the initiative to hold the woman's hand, walking towards the magnificent ice palace below the snowy mountain, which was as large as a city. She knew about her master Mu Chu's reduced lifespan due to cultivation problems. However, she didn't expect her master's injuries to be so serious. If things continued like this, she predicted that her master might only have less than 20 years left to live. In the divine palace, Mu Bing sat on a huge black ice bed. She supported her chin with both hands, lost in thought. Reborn, Ji Shu, in this life, how should I approach you? And then kill you. And as for my master's injuries, can they be healed? On the ice bed, the holy and pure Mu Chu sat cross-legged with her eyes closed. In the future, after I fall, who will guard the divine ice palace? Is it enough to rely solely on Binger? No, that's not enough, far from enough. But, if perhaps there is Ji Shu, it seems to be possible. With these thoughts, Mu Chu suddenly opened her eyes and stared blankly at Mu Bing sitting on the black ice, her eyes radiating a glimmer of hope. Master, what's wrong with you? Mu Bing felt a chill run down her spine as she was stared at by her own master's crazed gaze. At this moment, Mu Chu, without any warning, said something directly. Binger, when you come of age, how about marrying your senior sister's grandson, Ji Shu? Ah, marry Ji Shu, Mu Bing exclaimed in shock and stood frozen in place. If she were to marry Ji Shu, the Demon King, she would never agree, even if she died. But, she had a sudden thought. If I can approach the Demon King in this way, it seems possible, right? At this moment, a bold idea emerged in her mind, and a chilling light burst forth from her beautiful eyes. Her heartbeat suddenly intensified. In the blink of an eye. 3 years have passed in a hurry. Under the full protection of the Ji family, Ji Shu has safely celebrated 3 birthdays. This year, Ji Shu has turned 3 years old. The cold wind is biting, heavy snowflakes are falling, and the world is covered in silver. Winter has arrived. In the 100-mile-long street of the capital, it is deep and quiet, with snowflakes falling endlessly. The Ji Mansion and the fallen Maple Palace are brightly lit, warm and cozy. Ji Shu sits alone on the bed, his small body naked, sitting cross-legged with his eyes tightly closed. Name, Ji Shu. Age, 3 years old. Identity, Northern Xia Dynasty Crown Prince. Cultivation, Qi Refining 8th Realm. Bloodline Constitution, Divine Heart Demon Bone, 3 major realm gates not yet opened. Conditions for awakening the 3 major realm gates. Demonic Advent 10,000 Essence of Destiny, Divine Prohibition 100,000 Essence of Destiny, Immortal Ash 1,000,000 Essence of Destiny. Cultivation Technique, Immortal Devouring Demonic Technique cultivated to the 2nd realm. Weapon, None, Essence of Destiny, 2,700 points. Fate Level, Black, Soul on the verge of destruction. System Store, not yet opened, automatically opens with 3,000 Essence of Destiny. Task System, not yet opened, automatically opens at the Life Soil realm. Check-in location, Northern Xia Dynasty, Ji Mansion, Fallen Maple Palace. System prompt, time remaining until the next check-in, 0:10. He glanced at the system panel. When the time reached midnight, Ji Shu immediately opened his eyes and silently said in his heart. System, check-in at the Fallen Maple Palace. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully checking in and receiving a 1-star reward, top-grade Qi Refining Pill. The crisp sound of the system rang out. Immediately, a Qi Refining Pill the size of a longan, filled with divine radiance, appeared in Ji Shu's system storage. Without hesitation, Ji Shu casually took out the Qi Refining Pill and swallowed it directly. Then he took a deep breath and made up his mind. Tonight, I must break through to the 9th realm of Qi Refining. After saying that, he clasped his hands together and began to cultivate. Clang! At this moment, brilliant starlight bloomed all over his body, and swirling cyclones resembling dragons surrounded him. With his divine sense, he could see that the true essence in his body was boiling like water in a steamer under the effect of the Qi Refining Pill. The true essence circulated repeatedly, passing through the meridians and blooming with brilliant starlight. Finally, it even formed a small tornado in his dantian. He could even hear the sound of the true essence flowing rapidly in his meridians. After an hour, boom, with a loud noise from within his body. The starlight all over Jishu's body burst open and overflowed in an instant. A warm and extremely tingling sensation spread throughout his body. In that instant, it felt as if his soul had been sublimated, and he felt extremely comfortable. This feeling is not unfamiliar to Jishu. In the past 3 years, he has experienced this feeling many times. And every time this feeling arises, Jishu knows he has successfully made a breakthrough. Ding! Congratulations to the host for reaching the 9th level of Chi Refining. Reward, 300 Essence of Destiny. Ding! Congratulations to the host for accumulating 3000 Essence of Destiny. The system store is now open. Listening to the prompt from the system, Jishu let out a sigh of relief. It has been 3 years since he was born, and his sign and location has always been at Fallen Maple Palace without any changes. So, Jishu simply treats this place as his long-term training base. And what's worth celebrating is, on the first day of every month, Jishu can sign in at Fallen Maple Palace and receive a 1-star rated cultivation pill from the system. It is because of this that he was able to reach the 9th level of Chi Refining in just 3 years. And what satisfies him the most is that he has developed his potential to the extreme in the Chi Refining realm. Below the life soil realm, he is a god. Now, he is only one step away from breaking through to the life soil realm. It should be noted that 99% of cultivators on this continent are not qualified to start cultivating at the age of 3. To be able to start cultivating at the age of 3, usually, only the top talents of the Profound Heaven continent's top cultivation sects or families can barely achieve this with the help of their sect or family. But looking at Jishu, he is only 3 years old, yet he has already reached the 9th level of Chi Refining. This already far surpasses the top talents on the continent who have only achieved 2 major realms in their cultivation. How terrifying is this? And Jishu is confident that the gap between him and these top talents will not narrow in the future, but will only grow wider. In addition, it is worth mentioning that in these 3 years, every time Jishu breaks through a small realm in the Chi Refining realm, he receives a system reward of 300 to 400 Essence of Destiny. After accumulating for 3 years, he has obtained 3000 Essence of Destiny. This is quite a substantial reserve. It should be noted that Essence of Destiny can not only be used to purchase items in the system store, but also to unlock one's own bloodline realm. This is the most important capital for Jishu on his path to becoming a major antagonist. Phew, Jishu took a deep breath and muttered to himself. Finally saved up 3000 Essence of Destiny to be able to open the system store. Although there is still a considerable distance to reach 10,000 Essence of Destiny and unlock the first realm, Demonic Advent. But at least I can see a glimmer of hope. After speaking, Jishu eagerly opened the system store he had just unlocked. He wanted to see what good things were waiting for him in the system store. Ding! System store loading complete. Ding! May I ask if the host would like to activate the system store? Upon hearing this, Jishu nodded without hesitation. Ding! Store activated. Jishu suddenly felt a shock in his head, and a transparent system store appeared before his eyes. After carefully looking at the dazzling array of system goods, his heart couldn't help but beat faster, and his blood surged. Jishu carefully browsed through the system store. In the weapons section, Fish Intestine Sword, 300 Essence of Destiny. Broken Rainbow Sword, 300 Essence of Destiny. Red Sky Sword, 300 Essence of Destiny. Taya Sword, 600 Essence of Destiny. ... 4 Laws of the Azure Heavens, 5000 Essence of Destiny. Lingxi Divine Sword, 5000 Essence of Destiny. Apophis, the Demon Sword, 5000 Essence of Destiny. Frosty Sorrow, 5000 Essence of Destiny. ... Pangu Axe, 20,000 Essence of Destiny. Xuanyuan Holy Sword, 20,000 Essence of Destiny. Descendants Divine Bow, 20,000 Essence of Destiny. Jishu carefully looked at the weapons in this section. To be honest, it's impossible not to be tempted. Unfortunately, his pockets are empty. He can't afford good weapons, and there's no real need to buy ordinary ones. And to be honest, he doesn't really need any weapons right now. After all, he is the treasure of the entire G family. The whole family protects him, and at this stage, no one can threaten him. So, weapons are not a necessity right now. He shook his head. Jishu then turned his attention to the martial arts section. 8 Extremes Collapse, 500 Essence of Destiny. Prison Finger of the Great Wilderness, 1000 Essence of Destiny. Flying Dragon Cloud Piercing Hand, 1000 Essence of Destiny. Great Wilderness Withering Scripture, 2000 Essence of Destiny. Burning Decision, 3000 Essence of Destiny. Angry Lotus of the Buddha, 3000 Essence of Destiny. 6 Paths Reincarnation Fist, 10,000 Essence of Destiny. Supreme Forgetting Love Record, 10,000 Essence of Destiny. Summoning Demon Scripture, 10,000 Essence of Destiny. Heavenly Emperor Fist, 100,000 Essence of Destiny. 9 Secrets, 100,000 Essence of Destiny. 8 Reversals, 100,000 Essence of Destiny. Divine Elephant's Hell-Shaking Force, not for sale. Self-Liberating Transformation Art, not for sale. Jishu looked at the martial arts listed in the system and couldn't help but swallow his saliva. There really is a wide variety of powerful martial arts in the myriad realms. And it must be said that the more expensive something is, the more tempting it is. Although that's the case, Jishu knows his own strength. So after careful consideration, he chose to purchase the Theft God technique worth 1000 Essence of Destiny, Flying Dragon Cloud Piercing Hand. Flying Dragon Cloud Piercing Hand, Theft God technique, steals everything. It can silently steal hidden items from the target, and there is a certain probability of stealing the target's essence of destiny. The Theft God technique is great. Steals everything, including essence of destiny, Jishu muttered to himself. Although 1000 Essence of Destiny made him feel a bit distressed. But when he thought about the fact that the essence of destiny he could steal in the future would definitely be more than 1000 points, he felt at ease. After all, it would be a waste not to make a small investment for a big return. Once I become wealthy in the future, I'll only buy expensive things. Jishu waved his small fist, trying hard to restrain his desire to spend recklessly. Now, what he needed was not weapons or powerful techniques. It was cultivation and essence of destiny. He was also very clear that as long as his cultivation improved, he would earn essence of destiny. So, cultivation was especially important at this moment. Now is the time to work hard and earn essence of destiny. Not the time to spend recklessly. Money should be spent wisely. Investing in oneself is the most important. Jishu murmured to himself, then turned his gaze to the section on elixirs. He carefully browsed through them. In the end, Jishu spent 500 destiny points to buy a 2-star rated destiny pill from the system. This destiny pill would allow him to quickly break through the Chi refining realm and reach the life soil realm. Once he entered the life soil realm, he could activate the mission system. This was a major breakthrough. After making the purchase, Jishu casually closed the system store. Just as he was about to rest contentedly, he suddenly heard footsteps and voices outside the palace gate. Mother, Shoer is only 3 years old. Do we really need to find him a fiancé so early? Lin Ru stood in front of Fallen Maple Palace, looking helpless as she gazed at Jishu's grandmother, Mu Hua. Why not? If Shoer and her are engaged, it would bring endless benefits to our G family. Mu Hua explained with a gentle smile. But, mother, I can't bear it. Shoer is only 3 years old. He's still a child. Lin Ru bit her lip, her face filled with complexity and unwillingness. Now, Jishu was her everything. The thought of her son being engaged to someone else tomorrow made her feel sad and unhappy. Alright, let's prioritize the overall situation. Mu Hua patted Lin Ru's shoulder. She was also a mother, so she naturally understood Lin Ru's feelings. There was no mother in the world who could give her precious son to another woman. Especially, when her own son was only 3 years old. Even if, that woman, she couldn't be called a woman yet. She should be called a girl. Even if that girl had a super powerful background and talent, it was absolutely not acceptable. But then again, As the one in control of the Ji family, she had to consider the Ji family's interests. In her opinion, this marriage was a great thing with no harm and only benefits. Sigh, I'll go and talk to Shower now. Prepare for tomorrow. Lin Ru sighed helplessly, then walked towards Fallen Maple Palace. Watching Lin Ru's somewhat desolate figure, Mu Hua shook her head and chuckled. Indeed, they are all just children. Engagement. Engaged to whom? Ji Shu lay on the bed, scratching his head. He thought for a moment and realized that he didn't seem to have a fiancé in the novel. For a moment, he was completely puzzled. Gaji. The palace gate opened gently. Lin Ru was draped in a thick fur coat, her beautiful face radiating the tenderness and grace of a mother. After entering the room, Lin Ru closed the door gently, afraid that the cold air would harm her precious son. She walked quietly to the bed and looked at her sleeping son's sweet face, unable to help but smile tenderly. Bending down, she kissed Ji Shu on the forehead and whispered in his ear. Shower, wake up. She didn't want to wake Ji Shu from his sleep. But she knew the urgency of the matter and had to wake him up. Mother, what's the matter? Ji Shu lazily opened his eyes and asked softly. My good son, mother has something to tell you. Lin Ru lovingly ruffled Ji Shu's soft hair and spoke seriously. Oh, Ji Shu nodded. At this moment, he was curious about who his unknown fiancé was. Shower, your mother and grandmother have found a marriage proposal for you. Lin Ru smiled helplessly. Really, who is she? Ji Shu asked directly. Her name is Mu Bing. She is your aunt's closed-door disciple. And she will be the future palace master of the Divine Ice Palace. Lin Ru pinched Ji Shu's cheek, her tone filled with complexity. Although she was reluctant to see her son get married. But she had to admit that Mu Bing was definitely worthy of her son. Not to mention the infinite benefits that Mu Bing becoming the palace master of the Divine Ice Palace would bring to the Ji family in the future. Therefore, this marriage proposal was both a foregone conclusion and a necessary step. Mu Bing. Upon hearing this name, Ji Shu frowned suddenly. Mu Bing. In the original novel, she was the female lead. And also the empress of the immortal clan. She was reborn thousands of years before Ji Shu, the future ruler of all races. In the future, she would be the one to conquer him. She would pretend to marry him. And she would be the one to nail the soul-killing nail into him on their wedding night. And in the final battle, she would be the one to stab him through the heart with a sword. In short, the female lead, Mu Bing, was a heartless killer. She would be one of the main culprits of his future tragic fate. So it's her. The female lead has arrived. Ji Shu nodded thoughtfully, a playful look in his eyes. In the novel, Ji Shu first met Mu Bing when he was 18. And Mu Bing appeared as Ji Shu's elder. In terms of seniority, Mu Bing could be considered his aunt. Because of this, Ji Shu never thought that she would appear at this point in time, and even engage him. Interesting, Ji Shu thought to himself. At the same time, he began to ponder his countermeasures. The female lead is coming. He had to be on guard. And at that moment, Lin Ru suddenly asked with a serious tone. My son, do you know what marriage means? In her opinion, her 3-year-old son had no idea what marriage meant. If he treated it as child's play, it would be disrespectful. So she needed to explain it to him. Of course I know. Marriage means being able to kiss and sleep together. Just like mother and father. Never be apart. Ji Shu replied with a smile. Upon hearing this, Lin Ru blushed and glared at Ji Shu, wanting to retort. But for a moment, she didn't know how to argue. In the end, she could only pinch Ji Shu's cheek and reluctantly say. Rough words, but not a bad idea. But it's good that you know. In the future, you and her will be together for a lifetime. In her opinion, it was enough for her son to know so much. As long as he could take it seriously and not act recklessly tomorrow. After saying that, Lin Ru lovingly covered Ji Shu with the blanket and instructed him. My son, your aunt and Mu Bing will come to Ji Mansion tomorrow. You must behave well, no mischief. Okay. Ji Shu nodded. Upon hearing this, Lin Ru finally left satisfied. And at this moment, Ji Shu lay on the bed, hands behind his head, gazing at the bright moon outside the window. Moonlight fell into Ji Shu's clear eyes. Among them, flickered a cold and faint light. So it's Mu Bing. She came at the right time. It's also a timely coincidence. Jishu's lips curled slightly. He had just bought a profound skill called the Flying Dragon Cloud-Piercing Hand. And now he could put it to use. He was looking forward to what surprises Mu Bing would bring him. With that, he took out the Flying Dragon Cloud-Piercing Hand from the warehouse and began to cultivate. With my understanding and talent, cultivating this profound skill. One day is enough to get started. Jishu took a deep breath and slowly closed his eyes. Mu Bing, the female lead, the empress of the immortal clan. She was like a super gold mine waiting to be developed. He was looking forward to it. Ding! Congratulations to Jishu for achieving the entry level of Transcendence, Flying Dragon Cloud-Piercing Hand. Listening to the crisp sound of the system prompt in his ears, Jishu slowly opened his eyes and looked at the darkening sky outside the window, unable to help but let out a sigh of relief. Successful cultivation. Ready. After saying that, he put on his clothes and quietly lay on the bed, waiting for his mother's summons. Before long, Lin Ru arrived at Fallen Maple Palace without saying a word, stripped Jishu naked, and threw him into the bath, vigorously rubbing him. Then she grabbed Jishu and headed outside Fallen Maple Palace. Mother, where are we going to meet them? Jishu asked curiously. The martial arts arena. They should be here soon. Lin Ru responded with a stern look at Jishu. She felt that her son was too indecisive. At the same time, she thought about her son's thick-skinned nature. What would happen if the girl became dominant after they got married? As soon as she finished speaking, a crisp sound of the system prompt echoed in her ears. Ding! Check-in location refreshed. Ji Family Martial Arts Arena. Upon hearing this, Jishu's eyes instantly lit up. It's been 3 years. The new check-in location has finally refreshed. Since Jishu was born, his check-in location has always been Fallen Maple Palace. It hasn't changed for 3 whole years. Now that the check-in location has finally refreshed, how could he not be excited? Soon, Lin Ru brought Jishu to the martial arts arena. Grandmother Mu Hua had been waiting here for a long time. And as soon as Jishu stepped in, the sound of the system prompt suddenly rang in his ears. Ding! Check-in at the martial arts arena. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the reward, Celestial Fragment. Ding! The reward has been deposited into the system warehouse. Would the host like to open the Celestial Fragment? Upon hearing this, Jishu responded without hesitation. Open. As soon as he finished speaking. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully opening the Celestial Fragment. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining an 8-star weapon, Great Principal Sword Fetus. Upon hearing this, Jishu was stunned for a second, then ecstatic. Immediately, he hurriedly opened the system warehouse. At this moment, he saw a plain and unadorned sword fetus lying quietly in the warehouse. The sword fetus was not very long, nor sharp, and it was plain and dull, without any radiance. But upon closer inspection, one could see mist-like textures on it, with humanoid creatures, as if in a scene of flying immortals. Great Principal Sword Fetus, the first killing sword of unknown origin. Even the Heavenly Emperor, who was known for his dominance throughout the ages, was once beheaded by this sword, turning into countless drops of blood rain. This blind box actually opened a treasure. Jishu suppressed his excitement and sighed in admiration. He really wants to take out the Great Principal Sword Fetus to have a look now. But the timing is not right. Just when Jishu was secretly delighted, Mother Lin Ru and Grandmother Mu Hua both looked towards the distant horizon. Mother, they haven't arrived yet, Lin Ru asked nervously. As soon as she finished speaking, a crane's cry resounded through the sky. At the end of the horizon, a white crane tore through the night and flew towards the capital. They're here. Grandmother Mu Hua smiled slightly, her emotion surging in her eyes. Jishu looked up. On top of the white crane, there were 2 figures standing. And Mu Chu, dressed in an ice skirt, floated like a celestial being from another world, her temperament ethereal and otherworldly, as if she had stepped out of a painting. The female protagonist of the novel, Mu Bing, had silver hair cascading down her shoulders, a stunning appearance, and a cool temperament. Her beautiful eyes shimmered like the radiant moon. Although she was young, however, she already possessed a world-shaking majesty and a stunning appearance. It's hard to imagine what kind of peerless beauty she would become when she grows up. When the white crane landed on the martial arts field, Grandmother Mu Hua's eyes were already wet with tears. She trembled as she shouted to Mu Chu, "Sister." Mu Chu smiled and nodded gently at Grandmother Mu Hua. "Younger sister, I'm here." Moonlight poured down between the two, filling the reunion with beauty after a long separation. Grandmother Mu Hua and Mu Chu, this pair of sisters. They were separated in their youth and reunited in their old age. As time passed, their feelings for each other not only did not diminish, but became even stronger and more profound. On the other side, Ji Shu saw the true female protagonist from the novel for the first time, Mu Bing. If he said he wasn't nervous at this moment, it would be a lie. After all, this woman was the reincarnated empress of the immortal clan, and her methods were extremely ruthless. In the novel, he would eventually fall into her hands. However, compared to this point, what Ji Shu was more nervous about was what he was about to do next. It might be a bit exciting. Show her. Go and meet your fiancé. Grandmother Mu Hua rubbed Ji Shu's hair and spoke softly. And Mother Lin Ru pushed Ji Shu's back and whispered, "Son, go. A man should be bold at this time. Have some style. Don't be intimidated just because your future wife is beautiful." Ji Shu couldn't help but take a deep breath and nodded heavily at his mother Lin Ru. Then, with a stride that seemed unfamiliar, he walked towards Mu Bing. "The plan begins. Devil God Ji Shu. In this life, I finally caught you, Emperor." Mu Bing's beautiful eyes looked at Ji Shu, radiating with fire. Perhaps because her emotions were too excited, her clenched fist trembled slightly. But soon she forcibly suppressed her emotions, and then coldly spoke out her own name. "Mu Bing. Hello, the female protagonist of the novel." Ji Shu muttered to himself in his heart, then according to the plan, he held Mu Bing's hand. It felt slightly cool, like cherry wine. But Ji Shu didn't have any attachment. After saying that, he took 2 steps forward in the puzzled eyes of everyone, and then unexpectedly hugged Mu Bing in front of everyone. 3-year-old Ji Shu was shorter than 7-year-old Mu Bing, so the scene looked quite funny. Even the elders present were stunned. "Hello. I am Ji Shu." Ji Shu introduced himself to Mu Bing with immaturity and enthusiasm. At this moment, he clearly sensed Mu Bing's cultivation level. 7 years old. She refining 7th realm. No wonder she is the reborn female protagonist. Her cultivation talent is indeed powerful. Ji Shu muttered to himself in his heart. What's going on? Was this demon king so enthusiastic when he was a child? Mu Bing widened her beautiful eyes, her body stiffened, and her mind went blank. Before coming here, she had imagined countless scenes of meeting Ji Shu. But she completely didn't expect this. First meeting. This demon king didn't say a word and suddenly hugged her without any warning. Of course, it wasn't just Mu Bing. Even her master, Mu Chu, didn't expect it. Grandmother Mu Hua found it somewhat amusing. Mother Lin Ru was quite satisfied, thinking that her son had made progress. He held hands and hugged his fiancée as soon as they met. And he didn't let go after hugging. Only Ji Shu remained extremely clear-headed in the whole scene. Flying Dragon Cloud Piercing Hand. Activate. Ding. Theft failed. Ding. Theft failed. Ding. Congratulations to the host for stealing the reincarnation relic, a soul-killing nail. Ding. Theft failed. Ding. Theft failed. Ding. Theft failed. Ding. Congratulations to the host for stealing the essence of destiny 3,000 points. Listening to the system prompt in his ears, Ji Shu felt extremely satisfied in that instant and exclaimed repeatedly. That feels good. After successfully stealing, Ji Shu suddenly noticed that the air was quiet. So he pretended to be nonchalant and silently retracted his hand and let go of Mu Bing. Then he asked Mu Bing in a childish voice. Mother said, "When we grow up, we will get married. You are my fiancé. Is this true?" Hearing this, Mu Bing frowned, her face turned cold, and she coldly asked in return. "And if it is?" Upon hearing the affirmative answer, Ji Shu nodded and then spoke for himself. "If that's the case, then it's right." After saying that, Ji Shu, under the shocked gaze of everyone, raised his little hand, held Mu Bing's face, then tiptoed, and directly kissed Mu Bing's exquisite face fiercely. Mwah! Seeing this scene, the entire martial arts arena was stunned. Whether it was Mu Chu, Grandma Mu Hua, or Mother Lin Ru. Their eyes were slightly blank, their mouths wide open, almost big enough to fit an egg. Sister. This. Mu Chu widened her eyes and pointed at Ji Shu, meaning to ask why your little guy is causing trouble. He. Sister. Our shower is just more enthusiastic. They're all just kids. Grandma Mu Hua responded with a smile. But should she say it or not, the actions of her precious grandson tonight were indeed unexpected. Ahem. Lin Ru coughed awkwardly 3 times in agreement. Yes. Yes. My son has always been enthusiastic. Sorry for the embarrassment. After saying that, she thought to herself, Ji Shu, you little brat, I told you to be bold and have some style, but I didn't tell you to act like a hooligan. Thinking of this, Lin Ru couldn't bear to watch anymore and shouted loudly. Let go of that girl. After that, Lin Ru quickly went forward and pulled Ji Shu to her side. Immediately, without saying a word, she slapped Ji Shu's buttocks twice. You little brat, aren't you ashamed? From now on, don't call yourself Ji Shu. Change your name to GBU Shu. After being hit, Ji Shu started to perform. His eyes were red, and tears filled his eyes as he asked with great grievance. Mother, isn't getting married supposed to be a relationship where we can kiss and sleep together? Did I do something wrong? Lin Ru, Grandma Mu Hua, ha. Mu Chu, Mu Bing. The atmosphere fell silent for 3 seconds. Lin Ru was a little stunned by the question. She suddenly remembered the conversation she had with Ji Shu last night and felt her cheeks turn red. But as a mother, she felt that she should still show some authority and teach this little brat a lesson. You little brat, you've learned to talk back. GBU Shu. Watch how I deal with you in a moment. Let's go. Come back to the palace with me. After saying that, she grabbed Ji Shu's ear fiercely and walked towards the direction of Fallen Maple Palace. As she was leaving, Ji Shu waved at Mu Bing and said, Mu Bing, let's sleep together when we have time. ... Hearing this, seeing this situation, Grandma Mu Hua looked at Lin Ru, who seemed to be trying to escape, and couldn't help but shake her head and laugh. She thought, tonight, her precious grandson's buttocks are going to suffer. And Mu Chu, who was beside her, exclaimed, this kid's thinking is somewhat unique. That being said, she didn't think too much about it. After all, what bad intentions could a 3-year-old child have? After saying that, she turned her head and looked at her own disciple, who was still standing there. Even her face was blushing from being kissed. She asked softly, Binger, are you okay? Mu Bing shook her head. Master, Binger is fine. However, even though she said that, no one could know how fast her heart was beating at this moment. No one knew the complex emotional journey she had just experienced. She wiped away the wetness on her face and bit her lip, muttering to herself in frustration. This emperor was actually kissed by this demon king. In the future, this guy still wants to sleep with me. He really has a lot of nerve. He really is so audacious. Ji Mansion, Fallen Maple Palace. Ji Shu lay on the palace bed. Despite the burning pain from the spanking his mother, Lin Ru, gave him, and the 7-day ban from leaving the palace, his smile never wavered, and he felt even more delighted in his heart. He casually opened the system character panel. Name, Ji Shu. Age, 3 years old. Identity, Crown Prince of the Northern Xia Dynasty. Cultivation, Qi Refining 9th Realm. Bloodline Constitution, Divine Heart Demon Bone, 3 major realm gates not yet opened. Conditions for opening the 3 major realm gates. Demonic Advent 10,000 Essence of Destiny, Divine Prohibition 100,000 Essence of Destiny, Immortal Ash 1,000,000 Essence of Destiny. Cultivation Technique, Immortal Devouring Demonic Technique cultivated to the 2nd realm, Flying Dragon Cloud Piercing Hand, Entry Level. Weapon, Great Principle Sword Fetus. Essence of Destiny, 4,500 points. Fate Level, Black, Soul Destruction. System Store, opened. Task System, not opened, automatically opens at the Life Soil Realm. Warehouse, Fate Pill 1, Soul Killing Nail 1. System Prompt, more information can be expanded. Ji Shu carefully scanned his character panel. He felt a sense of relief throughout his body. This time, not only did he obtain the number 1 killing sword of all time, the great principal sword fetus, from signing in, but he also stole 3,000 points of essence of destiny from the female protagonist of the novel, Mu Bing, using the flying dragon cloud-piercing hand, as well as a soul-killing nail. Most importantly, he gave Mu Bing a big blow. It's not an exaggeration to say that it feels really good. If I remember correctly, in the novel, Mu Bing will use 10 soul-killing nails on her wedding night, which will destroy almost half of her cultivation. So, this is a good thing. Jishu rubbed his chin and sighed. Then he immediately checked the information about the soul-killing nail. Soul-killing nail. Emperor-grade hidden weapon, reincarnation relic, forged by immortal Emperor Mu Bing, extremely powerful killing power, capable of killing gods and emperors. Total of 10. System rating. 7-star level. System evaluation. Gods weep blood. Usage condition. Star Gathering Realm can use. Predicted power. Below Saint grade, can kill indiscriminately. System prompt. Each soul-killing nail can only be used once. Can be used in the Star Gathering Realm. And it has extremely strong killing power. Can kill indiscriminately below Saint grade. This is indeed a hardcore life-saving trump card. Jishu nodded and murmured. He knew very well that the soul-killing nail had extremely strong killing power. Even Emperor-grade experts could be killed by it. Of course, it also depends on the cultivator's cultivation and strength. But whether to use it or not, if a cultivator in the Star Gathering Realm can kill indiscriminately below Saint grade with the soul-killing nail, then its power has indeed far exceeded his expectations. Although it can only be used once, it can only kill one person at a time. But it is indeed a very precious life-saving trump card. Jishu solemnly put it away. Then he looked at the great principal sword fetus he obtained from signing in. Great principal sword fetus. Celestial relic, the #1 mysterious killing sword of all time. System rating. 8-star level. System evaluation. Indestructible through countless calamities, eternal and immortal. System prompt. This sword is mysterious. It is best for the host to attempt to use it after reaching the Lord Realm. It's indeed the sword I'm familiar with. Jishu licked his lips. He certainly knew that this sword was mysterious. After all, the Heavenly Emperor, who once ruled over all ages, was beheaded by it, causing blood to rain down. But it must be admitted that this sword is very powerful, extremely terrifying. The killing power contained within it is unparalleled. He took out the great principal sword fetus. When Jishu held the hilt of the sword, drops of immortal light floated in the air. Terrifying killing power filled his entire body. His heartbeat and blood flow instantly accelerated. In an instant, he knew that this sword would be one of his strongest aids in the future. He put away the great principal sword fetus. Jishu calmed down. He looked at the bright moon outside the window and began analyzing the current situation. The Northern Xia royal family is eyeing me. But as long as my aunt, Mu Chu, is still alive, they won't dare to openly attack me. However, we need to be cautious about Ji Wuji, the undercover agent planted by the Northern Xia dynasty in the Ji family military mansion. He is a significant problem. As for the female protagonist of the novel, Mu Bing, she is cunning and constantly plotting to kill me. But since she has been reborn, she is only 7 years old now. A 7-year-old at the Qi refining 7th realm might already be considered a top genius in the eyes of others. But she can't make any waves in front of me. And even the only threat to me, the soul-killing nail, she can't use it for now. As for the male protagonist of the novel, who is a descendant of the immortal clan, he is not in the same location as me now. So, there's no need to consider him specifically. In summary, there is currently no immediate danger, and I still have plenty of time. However, I do need to make good use of my time. His thoughts lingered here. Exhaling deeply, Jishu took a breath. Next, he would proceed step by step. I'm just one step away from reaching the life soil realm. Right now, my mother has grounded me for 7 days. So during these 7 days, I will break through to the life soil realm. A faint light bloomed in Jishu's clear eyes. Immediately, he took out the destiny pill he had bought with 500 essence of destiny from the warehouse. He swallowed it in one gulp. The immortal devouring demonic technique was activated. He began cultivating. Time flew by. When the sunset of the 7th day arrived, exhaling heavily, Jishu slowly opened his eyes. At this moment, a shimmering moonlight flickered in his eyes. Within his body, all his bones and meridians were filled with the radiance of stars. In just 7 days, he had broken through to the chi-refining 9th realm. He successfully opened up the life soil cultivation in his dantian. At this moment, his true essence had undergone a qualitative leap. Life soil realm. I've reached it, Jishu murmured softly. With a casual movement of his muscles and bones, he could hear the crackling sound, feeling extremely comfortable as the sensation spread throughout his body. The unprecedented surge of power flowing within his body made him feel more confident. And at this moment, a system prompt suddenly sounded in Jishu's ears. Ding! Congratulations to the host for reaching the life soil realm and receiving a system reward of 500 destiny points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for reaching the life soil realm. The mission system has been activated. Ding! System prompt, the check-in location has been refreshed to the Dark Arena in Kyoto. Hearing this, Jishu stretched lazily and murmured in surprise. The check-in location has been refreshed again. Just in time. At the same time, in the Fallen Maple Palace within the Ji Mansion, Mu Bing fiercely thrust her ice sword towards the direction of the Fallen Maple Palace. The reddish sunset was cut open, and the icy light scattered, giving her eyes a cold and ruthless look. She clenched her teeth tightly and angrily exclaimed, Ji Bushime, you shameless little thief, how dare you steal my soul-killing nail? That's right, she had finally discovered that her deeply hidden killing weapon was missing. But she was currently in the Ji family military mansion. There was practically no way for her to do anything about it. Everything was going exactly as Jishu had planned. I stole it, so what? Even if you found out, what can you do? Fallen Maple Palace. Jishu decided to open the task system that he had been longing for. After all, he only needed 5,000 destiny points to activate Demonic Advent. And completing tasks to earn Essence of Destiny was a good choice. Ding! Task system loaded. Would the host like to activate the system at this moment? Upon hearing this, Jishu nodded without hesitation. Ding! Task system activated. Jishu felt a shock in his head and immediately saw a virtual task screen in front of him. He noticed that this newly opened task system was divided into 2 task lists, bounty tasks and active tasks. Bounty tasks were tasks issued by the system. Active tasks were tasks that one could actively take on. At this moment, Jishu noticed that the bounty task list was empty. This meant that the system had not actively issued any bounty tasks. Fortunately, there was a task listed in the active task list. Active task: Spirit Clan Girl. Task description: Rescue Ji Yu Yao, the Spirit Clan girl who is imprisoned in the Dark Arena and has become a gladiator. Task location: Northern Xia Dynasty, Dark Arena in the capital. Task reward: 6,300 Essence of Destiny. Task deadline: none. Spirit Clan Girl, Ji Yu Yao. Seeing this familiar name, Jishu couldn't help but smile playfully. In the novel, Ji Yu Yao was the future empress of the Spirit Clan and a peerless genius in both magic and martial arts. She saved the crumbling Spirit Clan, turned it into the #1 royal family in Tianquan, and prevented the collapse of the Spirit Clan. With a single sword, she wiped out an ancient demonic dynasty. On the battlefield of gods and demons, she chanted forbidden spells, causing stars to fall and millions of demon soldiers to perish in an instant. She is the most talented woman in thousands of years, the moonlight of countless righteous geniuses on the continent, extremely stunning and dazzling. Most importantly, she is the only best friend of the female protagonist, Mu Bing. Jishu stroked his chin. Recalling the setting of Ji Yu Yao, the Spirit Clan girl, in his mind, his excitement grew. Ji Yu Yao, the future empress of the Spirit Clan. Mu Bing's only best friend. One of the most powerful enemies in the future. If I can make her mine, my future path will be much smoother. Jishu murmured to himself, his mind filled with ambitious plans, and his smile became even brighter. His thoughts stopped there. Without hesitation, Jishu chose to accept this task. Ding! System prompt: task accepted successfully. Ding! System prompt: task Spirit Clan Girl officially started. Hearing the crisp sound of the system prompt in his ears, Jishu let out a sigh of relief. About Ji Yu Yao, her past in the novel was a mystery. Even her best friend, Mu Bing, didn't know much about her. So, Mu Bing should be unaware of Ji Yuyao's time in the Dark Arena as a young girl. He should make the most of his time now. Gather as much money as possible to go to the Dark Arena. But where would the money come from? Just as Ji Shu's thoughts were wandering, familiar footsteps could be heard outside the palace. Ji Shu's heart leapt with joy, thinking that his benefactor had arrived. He quickly closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep. Clang! The palace door opened. Grandmother Mu Hua walked in with her hands behind her back and looked at Ji Shu, who was lying on the bed, and said in a displeased tone, "Little brat. Grandmother is here. Do you still want to pretend to be asleep?" Upon hearing this, Ji Shu smiled helplessly and then had to open his eyes and reach out his hand to Mu Hua, speaking in a childish voice, "Grandmother, carry me." Seeing Ji Shu acting like this, Mu Hua couldn't hold back her laughter. Then, she picked up Ji Shu and asked with a smile, "Little brat, is your butt still hurting?" Ji Shu nodded heavily and complained to his grandmother in a pitiful voice, "It hurts. Mother hit me really hard." He wasn't lying about this. If it were any other child, their butt would have been bruised from being beaten by their own mother. Stop it. We're both powerful life soil realm cultivators. A few hits like this don't count for anything. Mu Hua mercilessly exposed Ji Shu's lie. However, there was a sense of pride in her eyes. Observing over the past few years, she increasingly felt that her grandson's talent was even more terrifying than she had anticipated. Ha ha. Ji Shu scratched his head apologetically. He had never hidden his cultivation level from his family. So it was normal for his grandmother, Mu Hua, to sense his cultivation level. "Grandmother, haven't seen you in 7 days. Sure missed you." Ji Shu acted spoiled as he hugged Mu Hua, his big eyes full of mischief. He was laying the groundwork for his upcoming plan to ask for money. "Speak, what do you want, kid?" Mu Hua asked with a smile. She knew Ji Shu too well. So, she naturally knew that Ji Shu had a request for her. "Gold coins. A lot of gold coins." Ji Shu smiled and spoke. "Why do you need gold coins?" Mu Hua was somewhat surprised. Ji Shu remained silent for a moment before deciding to tell the truth. "Grandmother, Shower wants to go to the Dark Arena. So that's it." Mu Hua nodded. That wasn't surprising. Many privileged children in Kyoto would go to the Dark Arena to buy potential gladiators and train them as their own death warriors. She didn't think it was a big deal. Her only concern was her grandson's safety. After all, the Dark Arena in Kyoto was a chaotic place that was difficult to control. However, after careful consideration, Mu Hua had already come up with a plan. Then, she took out a black card and placed it in Ji Shu's hand. "Shower, there's 1 billion gold coins in here. If you're going to buy the best quality gladiator. Let grandmother see your judgment. It's also a chance for you to practice." Mu Hua rubbed Ji Shu's nose affectionately. 1 billion. Ji Shu was shocked. He had thought it was already good enough for his grandmother to give him a 7-figure sum of gold coins when he was 3 years old. But who would have thought that his grandmother would give him 1 billion right off the bat? At this moment, Ji Shu couldn't help but feel cliched in his heart and sighed. My grandmother is really rich. It should be noted that there were not many clans in the Northern Xia dynasty that could produce 1 billion gold coins. But there was only the Ji family that would give 1 billion to a 3-year-old child for practice. Grandmother is mighty. Ji Shu excitedly kissed Mu Hua's face, causing her to burst into laughter. Shower, grandmother allows you to go to the Dark Arena. But you can't go alone. Grandmother will find someone to accompany you. Mu Hua said. An old man dressed in black walked into the fallen maple palace from the deep night. The old man had an ordinary appearance, the kind that would go unnoticed in a crowd. But he exuded a cold aura and an indescribable sense of oppression that was very real. Not only that, Ji Shu, who could sense transcendence, seemed to smell the strong scent of blood on him. This kind of blood scent was terrifying, as if it had been honed from mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Monarch-grade expert. Definitely a monarch-grade expert. And also an assassin. Ji Shu was shocked. This old man had a high cultivation level. Even stronger than his own parents. And he guessed that the old man specialized in killing and used to be an assassin. Who is he? Ji Shu curiously asked. Introduce him. He will be the steward of Fallen Maple Palace in the future. Just call him Old Wei. Mu Hua smiled and spoke. After that, the old man in black bowed respectfully to Jishu and said, Old servant Wei Qin, greetings to the young prince. Upon hearing this, Jishu raised an eyebrow. He thought to himself, a monarch rank assassin guard, quite interesting. Chapter 14. Monarch rank powerhouse, specializes in killing. Used to be an assassin. I wonder if he's from the first assassin organization in the Profound Heaven continent. Jishu looked at the old man in black with interest and speculated to himself. It should be known that monarch rank powerhouses are extremely rare in the Profound Heaven continent. A monarch rank powerhouse is fully qualified to establish their own sect. Even among the 3 top imperial dynasties in the Profound Heaven continent, they would be considered important figures. They would be fought over by the major clans and families. There's no way they would be as unknown as Old Wei. So, there's only one possibility. That is, the Old Wei in front of us can only be from the first assassin organization in the Profound Heaven continent. Jishu thought of this and his eyes lit up. In fact, only the powerhouses from this mysterious assassin organization would be so low-key. Moreover, even in the first assassin organization, which is filled with assassins, the status of this Old Wei is probably not low. At this moment, Jishu looked at Wei Qin again. And Wei Qin was also looking at Jishu, shocked in his heart. A 3-year-old life soil realm powerhouse. Our little prince really has the aura of the ancient great emperor. No, it surpasses the aura of the great emperor. He has lived for most of his life and has seen many geniuses. But compared to Jishu, these geniuses really pale in comparison. They are simply not on the same level. He took a deep breath and then said to Jishu, Young prince, I am willing to serve you as a loyal servant. I am even more willing to become a sword under your command. In the future, I will definitely clear away all obstacles in front of you. Upon hearing this, Jishu's emotions did not change. Instead, he directly asked the doubt in his heart. I dare to ask, Old Wei, are you from the mortal world? Old Wei was taken aback by the question and subconsciously looked at Mu Hua. And Grandma Mu Hua looked at Jishu in surprise. She never expected that her grandson would actually know about the first assassin organization in the Profound Heaven continent, the mortal world. Hee. Mu Hua smiled and nodded at Old Wei, indicating that there was no need to hide. Report to the young prince. I am indeed from the mortal world. And I used to be the chief instructor of the mortal world. Old Wei revealed his background. Just as I thought. Jishu smiled satisfied. He felt that if Old Wei was going to work by his side in the future, it would be best to be open and honest. Don't keep any secrets from him. Old Wei being a monarch rank powerhouse is great. Him being an assassin from the mortal world is even better. This way, I will have a sharp sword by my side in the future. That's what Jishu thought. However, what surprised him even more. Old Wei is not only an assassin from the mortal world. He used to be the chief instructor of the mortal world. In other words, he is the third in command in the first assassin organization on this continent, only slightly lower in status than the 2 founders. Under his command, countless top-level assassins were trained. There is no doubt that he is a true big shot in the assassin world of the Profound Heaven continent. Jishu took a deep breath and then reached out his hand to Old Wei, speaking solemnly. Old Wei, in the future, please take care of me. Seeing this, Old Wei also shook Jishu's hand seriously. Under the moonlight, maple leaves fluttered. In the fallen maple palace. The scene of the old and the young shaking hands may seem strange. But for Jishu and Wei Qin, it was a historic moment. And Grandma Mu Hua looked at this scene with a satisfied smile on her face. She had a premonition. In the future, with Wei Qin's help, her precious grandson would overturn the entire continent. The next day, night fell. Jishu, dressed in a luxurious black robe, walked out of the fallen maple palace. Old Wei had been waiting outside the palace for a long time. Let's go, Old Wei. We're heading to the dark arena in the capital. Jishu smiled and spoke to Wei Qin. Wei Lao nodded earnestly at the words and then stood guard beside Jishu. The 2 of them headed towards the dark arena. Nanchang, Kyoto. In the dark arena, Jishu looked around and saw 3,000 bright lights, creating a lively atmosphere. Tens of thousands of people in Kyoto sat in the arena, roaring and shouting madly. And on the arena, 2 gladiators were fighting fiercely, covered in blood. The sound of weapons clashing. The sound of blood splattering. The sound of blades piercing the skin and tearing flesh, all making the cheers in the arena louder and crazier. And in the upper levels of the dark arena, a group of influential figures from Kyoto looked down on the fighting in the arena. They held crystal cups, savoring the most precious wines, while enjoying this feast of blood. Among them were high-ranking officials and nobles of Kyoto. There were also scions of wealthy families, and the bosses of underground forces in Kyoto. And as Jishu, the heir of the first military family in northern Sha, entered the scene, he was arranged to be in the Tianshuan Tower of the 4 Towers of Heaven and Earth in the Dark Arena. Obviously, Grandma Muwa had made the best arrangements before Jishu arrived. Clang! When the crystal lamp at the entrance of the Tian character box lit up, it immediately caught the attention of the influential figures. Wow! Someone important from the Tian character box has arrived. Could it be a big shot from the palace? Or maybe the saint child of one of the 7 major sects? Today, all the crystal lamps in the 4 Towers of Heaven and Earth are lit up. Maybe everyone is here, ha ha ha. Shish, don't talk too much. These top figures are not something we can speculate about. You're right, you're right. In the Tianshuan Tower sat 2 stunning women. One appeared to be around 20 years old, wearing an extremely luxurious phoenix-patterned long dress. Her eyebrows were beautiful, full of elegance and nobility. Her beautiful eyes seemed calm and unremarkable like a secluded lake, but they contained a chilling coldness. Her delicate nose was exquisitely beautiful, giving off an air of nobility and elegance. Combined with her moist and rosy lips, she had a stunning and dreamlike beauty. She was as beautiful as a goddess, breathtakingly gorgeous. This was the most direct impression she gave to people. The other one was a 13-year-old girl. She wore a white feather coat, pure and flawless. Her eyes were like cold stars, her lips like cherry blossoms. Her face was exceptionally beautiful, although slightly immature. But anyone who had seen her would not doubt that when she grew up, she would definitely be an extremely beautiful woman who could captivate a nation. Master, someone from the Tianshuan Tower has arrived. Who do you think it could be? The girl asked curiously. Hee. The woman smiled and casually replied. Ji family's young heir. Jishu. Ah, the girl exclaimed in surprise. It's actually him. It's going to be lively today. In the Shuanj Tower, 2 men wearing crimson robes of holy fire remained silent. One of the middle-aged men asked the handsome young man beside him with a hint of worry. Young master, someone from the Tianshuan Tower has arrived. Do you think they have the same target as us today? HMPH. The young man snorted. So what if they do? That pair of siblings from the spirit clan belongs to our Crimson Cloth Church. It doesn't matter who comes. The holy fire commands. The red robes are supreme. They are from the Crimson Cloth Church, one of the 7 major sects of the profound heaven continent. In the Wanj Tower, a soft and beautiful man in a python robe silently drank tea. The camera zoomed in. He turned out to be a popular figure in the current Kyoto royal family. The official from the Shicheng, Yu Huatian. Official, why are we here today? Hee. Yu Huatian smiled and looked towards the direction of the Tianshuan Tower. By the decree of His Majesty, I have come to personally see this young heir of the Ji family. Ding. Arrived at the dark arena of Kyoto. Ding. Host, please check in. Hearing the sound of the system prompt in his ear. Check in. Jishu decisively nodded. Ding. Check-in successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a 6-star reward Ghost Flute Sentiment. Ding. Check-in successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a 6-star reward Soul Seizing Trilogy. The voice of the system fell. Jishu quickly opened the system warehouse. At this moment, he saw a slender black flute lying in the warehouse. Ghost Flute Sentiment. A relic from the world of demonic cultivation, with no cultivation restrictions. When used in conjunction with the soul-seizing trilogy, its power is unparalleled and mysterious. Soul-seizing trilogy. Requiem of Souls. Can control deceased cultivators to fight for them. Can be cultivated in the star-gathering realm. Soul-plundering sonata. Can capture the souls of cultivators and turn them into puppets. Can be cultivated in the monarch rank. Summoning elegy. Has a certain probability of resurrecting recently deceased cultivators. Can be cultivated in the saint realm. 2 birds with 1 stone. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Double rewards with 1 check-in. Jishu was in a great mood. This time, he actually obtained 2 6-star rewards directly from the check-in. Although Ghost Flute Sentiment and Soul Seizing Trilogy were 2 levels weaker than the previously obtained Great Principal Sword Fetus. But with Ghost Flute Sentiment and Soul Seizing Trilogy, he would have more control over the future. Controlling corpses, plundering souls, summoning spirits. It couldn't be more exciting. Phew. Jishu let out a breath. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, he then shifted his attention to the dark arena. Now was not the time to be complacent. It was time to do his best to complete the system's tasks. After all, he was determined to obtain the essence of destiny worth 6,300. Elder Wei, please explain. What are the rules of the dark arena? Jishu asked. Reporting to your highness. The rules are very simple. After each life and death battle on the arena, the surviving victor will be auctioned off in public. The highest bidder wins. It's worth mentioning that all the gladiators here have never cultivated before, so you could say they are all blank slates. In the life and death battles, they can only rely on their own fighting skills and physical strength to kill their opponents. Elder Wei explained seriously to Jishu. Very well. Jishu nodded and smiled slightly. Seeing this, Elder Wei also nodded and thought to himself, Your Highness must have a goal in mind. ... Time passed quickly. 9 battles ended. The 9 victorious gladiators were snatched away by the powerful and wealthy of Kyoto at high prices. One of them even fetched a staggering price of 5 million gold coins, shocking the tens of thousands of people in the arena. While everyone was still immersed in the thrilling bloodshed just now, a tall and beautiful woman walked out. She was dressed in a black cheongsam, wearing high heels, and had long and shapely legs covered in black stockings. Her voluptuous figure was outlined to perfection. Her appearance instantly heated up the atmosphere. On the arena, countless men turned red-faced, swallowing hard, feeling restless and hot when they saw her. The Dark Arena's chief auctioneer, Luo Yuju. She is the goddess in the hearts of countless men in Kyoto. Once, a prince wanted to have a taste of her. But the next day, that prince died in his own mansion, his meridians severed, his bones turned to ashes, leaving only his skin. Even the powerful intelligence network of the Western Agency in Kyoto couldn't find any trace of the killer, or rather, they didn't dare to investigate further. Since then, Luo Yuju has become one of the most untouchable figures in Kyoto. Elder Wei whispered in Jishu's ear. Upon hearing this, Jishu slowly opened his eyes. He glanced at the woman standing in the center of the arena, with a hot figure, enchanting beauty, and a friendly demeanor. The poison goddess, Luo Yuju, Jishu murmured in a daze. In the original novel, Luo Yuju, thousands of years later, was revered as the poison goddess. Her master was the main antagonist, the same level as Jishu himself, the divine consort. So, Luo Yuju was the chief auctioneer of the Dark Arena thousands of years ago. Jishu nodded. However, just as his thoughts were turning, Luo Yuju, who was standing in the center of the arena, spoke up. Next, as the highlight battle of tonight, the Spirit Clan Orphan versus the Beast Tribe Berserker. As the words fell, the entire arena instantly erupted. Even the important figures in Kyoto were all energized. He's here. Jishu snapped back to his senses and stared intently at the arena. On the arena, Luo Yuju extended her slender jade hand and lightly snapped her fingers. Boom! The fences on both sides of the arena burst open. Thud, 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 thud. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed from the darkness. The arena instantly fell silent when a 3-jong tall orc walked out of the fence. Hiss! Countless gasps of shock resounded throughout the arena. This orc was tall and strong. His body was filled with muscular strength. His appearance was ferocious, his eyes bloodshot, filled with a bloodthirsty intent. Two sharp fangs protruded from his mouth like crescent moons exposed in the air. He held a huge battle axe, resembling a terrifying bloodthirsty beast god. On the other side, a girl walked out. The girl wore a tattered linen robe that barely covered her developing body. Her feet were bare, her face and hair were covered in dirt and grime. But even so, it couldn't hide her unparalleled beauty. She held an iron sword, her eyes as clear as autumn water filled with determination and unyielding spirit. Spirit Clan Empress, Ji Yu Yao. Ji Shu's eyes flickered with a faint light. Today, he came for this girl. And at this moment, he suddenly noticed that there was a timid little boy standing behind Ji Yu Yao. This is Ji Yu Yao's younger brother, Ji Yu Jian, the future Spirit Clan sword god, revered by countless cultivators as the honorable spirit sword. He possesses a naturally supreme bone, with an extremely powerful talent. In the novel, he is supposed to die by my hands, right? He's actually here too. It seems like I've hit the jackpot today. Ji Shu rubbed his chin and started to get excited. In the D-Zon pavilion, the mysterious woman sipped her tea, occasionally glancing towards the direction of the Tian-Zon pavilion. Finally, her red lips slightly lifted as she muttered to herself. It seems, the young master of the Ji family has come for this final battle today. In the Zon Zi pavilion, when the young master of the Crimson Cloth Church, Shen Nanfang, saw Ji Yu Yao and Ji Yu Jian, this pair of Spirit Clan orphans, his eyes were filled with greed and desire. They're here. This time, I must obtain this pair of siblings at the auction. The sister will be used as a cultivation furnace, and the brother's supreme bone will be extracted. When this young master succeeds, he will be the only young master of the Crimson Cloth Church. Hehehehe. Shen Nanfang's laughter was extremely eerie. The reason he came to the Dark Arena in Kyoto today was because he received a secret report from the sect. He had been coveting the supreme bone at the legendary level for a long time. Naturally, he wouldn't let this opportunity slip by. In the Huangzi Pavilion, the public official of the West Factory, Yu Huatian, lightly tapped the table with his hand. Spirit Clan siblings, as the young master of the Ji family here for them. After saying that, he glanced at Ji Yu Yao and Ji Yu Jian from afar. Then, he shook his head. With just one glance, he could tell that although Ji Yu Yao had decent aptitude, her meridians were severely damaged, and her bloodline was overdrawn. It was highly likely that she would stop at the monarch rank in the future. As for Ji Yu Jian, his aptitude was not even as good as Ji Yu Yao's. Even though he had the bloodline of the Spirit Clan, it didn't seem to be anything special. If it weren't for this pair of siblings, Ji Shu, could it be that you came for this stinky orc? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Yu Huatian frowned, feeling increasingly puzzled. Of course, it wasn't surprising that he was so confused, because he didn't know that Ji Yu Yao would become the unparalleled Spirit Clan Empress in the future. Nor did he know that Ji Yu Jian's supreme bone would only manifest after he truly began his cultivation. In the arena, every smile or frown from Luo Yuzhu would make the men present itch. Ignoring the burning gazes of the crowd, she spoke in a very friendly manner. Orc Ji Yu Dan possesses a small amount of beast god bloodline, infinite strength, bloodthirsty and violent. Has killed over 100 gladiators in training. He is one of the best warriors in our arena, known as the Berserker. As her words fell, the tens of thousands of people in the arena were shocked. They knew that gladiators undergo strict and brutal training before entering the arena. Only warriors who have experienced the brutal fights in the training grounds are qualified to step onto the arena. And this orc had killed over 100 gladiators before entering the arena. It can be imagined how strong this orc's combat power is. After introducing the orc berserker, Luo Yuzhu's beautiful eyes turned and looked towards Ji Yu Yao and Ji Yu Jian, then she spoke again. Spirit Clan orphan. It is well known that the Spirit Clan was once the first royal family of the profound Heaven continent. Sister Ji Yu Yao, a genius in battle, she has killed anyone who provoked her in the training grounds. And under her protection, younger brother Ji Yu Jian has never killed anyone, never shed a drop of blood. known as the Angel of Slaughter. After saying these words, the whole arena was in an uproar. The Spirit Clan was the first royal family of the profound heaven continent thousands of years ago. They possessed powerful bloodlines. They could even heal wounds with their blood, making them the highest grade elixir. However, the Spirit Clan later declined. People with Spirit Clan bloodlines became the most valuable prey in the eyes of the major sects and families on the continent. Next, as usual, the minimum bet amount is 1 gold coin. The maximum bet amount is 10 million gold coins. The odds are 1 to 2. Please bet carefully. After Luo Yuzhu finished speaking, she turned and left the arena with her long legs. The audience in the arena was discussing fervently. The Dark Arena truly deserves to be the first in the profound heaven continent. To think that even the violent orc in the Spirit Clan orphan with noble bloodline can be trained into gladiators. Who can say otherwise? Who do you think will win this match? I think the orc Ji Dan will win. I think so too. But the Angel of Slaughter, Ji Yao from the Spirit Clan, is also impressive. She can protect her brother without shedding a drop of blood. It shows how strong her combat power is. If Ji Yao wins, we can double our earnings. Good point. While the crowd in the arena was bustling with excitement. In the Tianshuan Pavilion, Elder Wei looked at Ji Shu with interest and asked, Your Highness, who do you think will win this match? Ji Shu smiled and said, I'll bet 10 million gold coins on Ji Yao. Yes, Your Highness, Elder Wei nodded. He wouldn't question Ji Shu's decision, even though Ji Shu was only 3 years old. In the Earthshuan Pavilion, the girl in the white feathered robe asked again, Master, who do you think will win? The orc Ji Dan or the Angel of Slaughter, Ji Yao? The mysterious woman chuckled and said, How can a lowly orc defeat the noble Spirit Clan? Is that so? The girl frowned, but she believed that the orc would win. In the Shuangong Pavilion, young Master Shen Nanfang, of the Crimson Cloth Church, greedily said, 10 million. I bet it all on Ji Yao. In the Wangshuan Pavilion, the chief of the West Factory, Yu Huatian, did not place a bet. He waited with a gloomy expression for the battle to begin. In his opinion, both the orc Ji Dan and the Spirit Clan's Ji Yao had a chance of winning. He never made any decisions without certainty. And besides, his main purpose for coming here was to see what Ji Shu was up to. 10 minutes later, betting was complete. The battle began. Orc Ji Dan held a giant axe and stared at Ji Yao with his crimson eyes. The Spirit Clan has indeed declined. The later generations are weaker than the previous ones. Hehehehe. A hoarse and deep laughter echoed in the arena. Ji Yao ignored Ji Dan's words. Instead, she turned to her younger brother, Ji Jian, and whispered softly, same as always. When the battle begins, stay behind your sister, okay? Sister. Ji Jian called out, then gritted his teeth and said softly, this person is very strong. Stronger than any opponent we've encountered before. I want to fight with you. No need. Ji Yao smiled, patted Ji Jian's head, and said, he is strong. But sister is stronger. With sister here, he won't be able to harm a single hair on you. After saying that, she pushed Ji Jian behind her. Then, she held an iron sword and walked step by step towards the orc Ji Dan. Kill. Upon seeing this, the orc Ji Dan let out a furious roar. He swung his giant axe directly towards Ji Yao, ready to split her with all his strength. Rip. A tremendous force tore through the air. Ji Yao's beautiful eyes turned cold, her expression focused as she slightly leaned to the side. Boom. The giant axe narrowly missed her. In that instant, Ji Dan exposed a vulnerability. Seizing the opportunity, Ji Yao swiftly turned her wrist and stabbed directly at Ji Dan. Her strike was fast and precise, aiming for Ji Dan's left eye. Hey, Ji Dan sneered, taking a step back and swinging his axe to defend himself. Clang. A crisp sound rang out. The iron sword clashed with the giant axe. A blinding flash of fire erupted. The immense force sent Ji Yao flying. Thump, thump. Ji Yao retreated several zhang before finally managing to dissipate the tremendous force from the iron sword. As expected, in the face of absolute power, all combat skills are useless. That's right. If the orcs didn't have an absolute advantage, the odds wouldn't be 2 to 1. Dot 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 dot. A simple exchange. Many spectators in the arena had already noticed something. The strength of the orcs was clearly superior to Ji Yu Yao's. And not just by a little bit. If this continued, within 10 moves, Ji Yu Yao would meet her demise. By then, her younger brother Ji Yu Jian would also meet a tragic end. Ji Yu Yao took a deep breath. Clearly, she was aware of this. So, if she wanted to survive, there was only one way left. Burning blood. Ji Yu Yao's beautiful eyes radiated with bloodlust. At this moment, a blazing flame ignited all around her. Kill. Ji Yu Yao stomped her foot fiercely, transforming into a streak of fire and charging straight towards Ji Yu Dan. In an instant, her speed increased by at least tenfold. In the blink of an eye, she arrived in front of Ji Yu Dan. Her sword descended like a phantom. Clang, 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 clang. On the arena, sword light filled the air, fire scattered everywhere. Ji Yu Yao's figure was everywhere. Even the smell of burning filled the air. Ji Yu Dan, the orc, was forced to retreat. He was completely suppressed. Witnessing this scene, the tens of thousands of people in the arena stood up. Their pupils trembled. What's going on? The battle. In an instant, it turned around. Dot 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 dot. In the Tianshuan pavilion, Elder Wei spoke with surprise. Spirit Clan secret technique. Burning blood. This girl's talent is extraordinary. No wonder, her meridians are severely damaged. So, she has been relying on this method of overdrawing her life to get to this point. Ji Shu nodded. Ji Yu Yao, only 13 years old. If it weren't for this method, how could she protect herself and her younger brother? As they spoke, on the arena, Ji Yu Yao had already slashed hundreds of orcs. When the final strike landed, crack, the iron sword finally couldn't bear such a great force and shattered into several pieces, scattering across the arena. Hu Kai. Ji Yu Yao suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, flying backward like a kite stained with blood. Her delicate and beautiful face turned pale as paper, and she staggered. On the other hand, Ji Yu Dan, the orc, was in an even worse state. He was panting heavily, his entire body covered in deep and visible sword wounds. He looked as if he had just emerged from a pool of blood, his whole body drenched in blood, reaching a pitiful state. Spirit Clan woman. Ji Yu Dan gritted his teeth, glaring at Ji Yu Yao. The bloodthirsty red color in his crimson eyes grew even more intense. Now, it was his turn to make a move. Kill. Ji Yu Dan roared. He swung his giant axe, obscuring the moonlight. He intended to split Ji Yu Yao into a rain of blood with a single strike. But, the next second, something shocking happened. Ji Yu Yao looked at Ji Yu Dan with a cold expression. Then, she slowly raised her palm. With a focused finger, target locked. Clang, 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 clang. The broken sword blades floated up from the ground, transforming into dazzling flames that reversed direction and pierced through Ji Yu Dan's body. Hu Kai, Hu Kai, Hu Kai, Hu Kai. The sound of blood splattering filled the air. Ji Yu Dan's body now had more than a dozen bloody holes. And when the final piece of sword blade cut through the air, Ji Yu Dan's head was thrown high into the air. Blood sprayed like a fountain, flying more than 10 meters. The head fell to the ground. Beast blood scattered. At this moment, the entire arena fell silent. Ji Yu Yao actually won. In the final move, she directly killed the orc Gudan against the odds. What a strong talent for battle. No wonder she possesses the Transcendence bloodline of the Spirit Clan. Keep in mind that she hasn't even cultivated yet and already has such combat power. It's hard to imagine how terrifying she will be once she starts cultivating. I dare not imagine. I dare not imagine. Dot 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 dot. Gudan the orc fell. Ji Yu Yao survived. Those who bet on Ji Yu Yao were overjoyed. Those who bet on Gudan the orc were pounding their chests and breaking their thighs. In the Tianshuan pavilion, the people in the dark arena sent Ji Shu 20 million gold coins that he had bet on Ji Yu Yao's victory. Congratulations, Your Highness, on making a big profit. Old Wei said with a smile. The real show is yet to come. Ji Shu didn't care. It's normal for Ji Yu Yao to win. But the problem is that now it's highly likely that everyone wants to buy Ji Yu Yao. so it can be predicted that today's bidding will be very intense. After saying that, Ji Shu looked at Old Wei and asked, how much do you think Ji Yu Yao can fetch today? Old Wei thought for a moment and replied, at least 8 figures. Makes sense. Ji Shu nodded. He also thought that today he would have to spend at least 8 figures to acquire Ji Yu Yao. But, let alone tens of millions. Even if he had to use all the gold coins on him, it would be completely worth it. In the arena, Ji Yu Jian supported his sister. He looked at Ji Yu Yao, covered in blood and pale, with a heart full of pain. He hated himself for being so useless, always needing his sister to sacrifice herself to protect him. He hated himself even more for not being able to burn his bloodline to help his sister kill the enemy. It's not that he didn't want to, but he couldn't do it. Not everyone with the bloodline of the Spirit Clan can burn their bloodline to enhance their strength. Out of 10,000 Spirit Clan cultivators, only one can do it. Alright, we won. We can survive. Ji Yu Yao, pale and exhausted, gently patted Ji Yu Jian's head with a weak voice. She understood Ji Yu Jian's thoughts very well, but as an older sister, she naturally had to protect her younger brother. For this, even if she had to burn her bloodline and exhaust her life force, she had no regrets. Just then, click, click, click. The sound of high heels echoed. Luo Yuzhu returned to the arena once again. She didn't even look at the decapitated Gudan the orc, but smiled and said, the orphan of the Spirit Clan. Ji Yu Yao and Ji Yu Jian, the siblings. The starting bid, 500,000 gold coins. Each bid must increase by at least 500,000 gold coins. The auction starts now. As soon as the words fell, a big shot from the underground forces in Kyoto made a bid. 1 million gold coins. A scion of a wealthy family sneered, 5 million gold coins. Is that it? A noble from Kyoto disdainfully spoke, 8 million gold coins. 9 million gold coins. 9.5 million gold coins. The price kept rising, until it reached 20 million gold coins. At this point, there were fewer and fewer bidders. After all, this price was already very high. With 20 million gold coins, one could buy a powerful mercenary army. Just when everyone thought the dust had settled, in the Xuanzi Pavilion, young Master Shen Nanfang of the Crimson Cloth Church made a move. 30 million gold coins. In an instant, the entire arena was in an uproar. Upon hearing this price, even Luo Yuzhu on the arena couldn't help but look at him sideways. 30 million gold coins. Does anyone else want to bid? As soon as the words fell, the entire arena fell silent. 30 million gold coins. This had already broken the record for the highest transaction in this dark arena. There shouldn't be anyone else bidding, right? 40 million. A childish voice sounded. Everyone turned their gaze to the Tianxuan Pavilion. That important person has made a move. 40 million. Oh my goodness. 40 million. That's too ruthless. Note: the translation provided is a faithful representation of the original Chinese text. Some sentences may be rephrased for clarity or to better convey the meaning in English. Although Ji Yu Yao's combat talent is not bad, it's not worth 40 million gold coins. That's right, now someone with Spirit Clan bloodline can be bought for only 500,000 gold coins. 40 million is just too exaggerated. It seems someone wants to compete with us. Shen Nanfang gritted his teeth and spoke. Young master, should we continue bidding? The guardian of the Crimson Cloth Church asked quietly. Bid. Of course we should bid. Shen Nanfang's face darkened as he continued to bid. 50 million gold coins. Hee. Ji Shu chuckled. He calmly continued to raise the bid. 55 million. Shen Nanfang angrily cursed. 60 million. 70 million. Ji Shu casually added another 10 million. Upon hearing this number, Shen Nanfang's expression became ugly. This time, he only brought 60 million gold coins, plus the 20 million he won from his previous bet. At most, he had 80 million. If the price went above 80 million, he couldn't afford it. To be honest, no one was more anxious than him right now. 80 million. Shen Nanfang went all in. After saying that, his face darkened, and he coldly spoke towards the direction of the Tianquan pavilion. The price is 80 million. It's already very high. Please consider it carefully, Lord. We are deeply grateful to the Crimson Cloth Church. As soon as he finished speaking, the cultivators in the entire dark arena trembled in their hearts. It turned out that the important figure in the Tianquan pavilion came from the Crimson Cloth Church. This was one of the 7 major cultivation sects in the profound heaven continent, a supergiant. These words sounded polite, but obviously carried a threatening element. It meant that the bid from the Crimson Cloth Church today was already very high, so they didn't want to bid any higher. So it's the Crimson Cloth Church. No wonder they are so rich. But they are too overbearing. They want to suppress others with their power. The big shots in the arena frowned and felt unhappy. Just then, Jishu in the Tianquan pavilion lightly tapped the table with his finger, completely unconcerned, and said, 90 million. When Jishu's voice fell, the cultivators in the dark arena felt their scalps go numb. And the adults all looked towards the Tianquan pavilion, guessing who the important figure sitting there was. To bid 90 million for a spirit clan girl. And not hesitate to offend the Crimson Cloth Church, one of the 7 major cultivation sects in the profound heaven continent. When Chen Nanfang heard this price, anger surged in his heart. Crack! The teacup in his hand shattered instantly. He knew that he had no chance anymore. On the arena, Luo Yuzhu smiled and looked towards the Tianquan pavilion, then said, 90 million, sold. When Ji Yujian heard this news, his face turned pale, and he trembled as he said to his sister. Sister, we are actually worth so much. Ji Yuyao heard this and stared blankly towards the Tianquan pavilion, murmuring, yes, why are we worth so much? She wanted to know who the important figure who bought them and her brother at such a high price was. In her opinion, as long as it was an important figure, they wouldn't be foolish. To buy them at such a high price, there must be a hidden motive. Just then, clang, the door of the Tianquan pavilion opened. A slender figure walked out. He was dressed in a black silk robe. His delicate and handsome face was eye-catching. His clear eyes were like autumn mountain springs, cold and noble, capable of cutting through the darkness. Even though he was young, he had an extremely transcendent aura. I am Luo Yuzhu. Greetings, young prince. Luo Yuzhu smiled slightly at Jishu. As soon as she spoke, the entire dark arena fell silent for a moment. Then, the atmosphere erupted like a tsunami. The important figure in the Tianquan pavilion. It turned out to be him. Jishu, the young prince of the Northern Xia dynasty's first military family. Ji family's young master, Jishu. Born 3 years ago, the radiance of the 4 great immortals descended. Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion calls him a rare and splendid talent comparable to the ancient great emperors in terms of transcendence. Since birth, the entire Ji family has protected him in their hands, making him an absolute taboo figure recognized by the Northern Xia dynasty. Today, we finally get to see the true form of the young master. Jishu's appearance caused a huge wave in the dark arena. Everyone's gaze was fixed on him, especially the powerful figures in the capital. But this was not surprising. Ever since he was born, he has been the focus of attention throughout the continent. In addition, the Ji family's protection of him is extremely thorough. No one in the entire capital has seen his true face. This has added another layer of mystery to him. Dizan Pavilion. The girl in the feathered robe looked at Jishu with burning eyes. After a while, she exclaimed in shock. Master. This Ji family's young master. His cultivation seems to be life soil. The mysterious woman softly uttered 2 words. Hearing her master's confirmation, gasp. The girl in the feathered robe couldn't help but take a cold breath. 3 years old, life soil. She had never even heard of it, let alone seen it. Even among countless cultivators and big shots, her talent was already considered top-notch. She was not inferior to the saint childs of the 7 top-level sects on the continent. But at the age of 13, her cultivation had only just reached the life soil realm. Compared to Jishu, it was simply not on the same level. Master, how is this possible? His cultivation talent is simply monstrous. No, it's even more terrifying than a monster. The girl in the feathered robe bit her lip, feeling extremely frustrated and shocked. She had just started cultivating at the age of 3, and had only just begun to refine her essence and marrow. But Jishu had already reached the life soil realm. This created a huge gap in her heart. Zan Yin, nothing is impossible in this world. The mysterious woman shook her head and looked at Jishu for a while. At this moment, she narrowed her phoenix eyes, licked her lips like a rose after rain, and murmured. Not bad. He's a talented little guy. If. The mysterious woman didn't finish her sentence, but a mischievous smile appeared on her lips. If what? The girl in the feathered robe curiously asked the mysterious woman. If there's a chance, it would be great to hold him in my arms and have some fun. The mysterious woman crossed her arms and made a shocking statement, causing waves to surge. She was visually striking in this way. Upon hearing her master's words, the girl in the feathered robe blushed and thought to herself, my master always has such unique thoughts. In the Wangzi Pavilion, the chief of the West Factory, Yu Huatian, trembled as he looked at Jishu. A 3-year-old life soil. This little guy is even more terrifying than I expected. At this moment, countless thoughts surged in his mind. One of them was particularly strong. However, when he considered that this was the dark arena, and that it was that woman's territory. In addition, he saw the black-robed old man standing behind Jishu. He had to dispel that crazy idea in his mind. Forget it. Let's find another opportunity. Yu Huatian sighed deeply. In the Xuanzi Pavilion, young master. The person in the Tianshuan Pavilion is actually Ji family's young master. No wonder he's not afraid of our Crimson Cloth Church's threats. This time, we lost without any injustice. The guardian of the Crimson Cloth Church sighed deeply. Lost? I haven't lost yet. What does Ji family matter to me? In Northern Sha, they may be able to show off. But in the profound Heaven continent, the Ji family is not considered a top-level cultivation sect. Shen Nanfang's tone was very gloomy as he spoke. Then, he stood up and walked straight towards the door. Sir, where are you going? The guardian of the Crimson Cloth Church frowned and asked in surprise. Of course, I'm going to retrieve what belongs to me. I want to see if this little prince of the Ji family dares to oppose the Crimson Cloth Church. Shen Nanfang sneered and pushed the door open without looking back. This is bad. This is going to be trouble. A sense of unease surged in the guardian of the Crimson Cloth Church's heart. In the arena, Luo Yuzhu also sized up Jishu. A 3-year-old life soil. What a terrifying little guy. Her thoughts stopped there. She suddenly noticed that Jishu was also sizing her up. I have to say, Lord Poison God, you have really nice legs. Jishu's gaze fell on Luo Yuzhu's pair of long and shapely legs covered in black stockings, silently sighing in his heart. This little guy, at such a young age, not learning properly. What will become of him when he grows up? Luo Yuzhu gave Jishu a slightly amused glare. As the chief of the Dark Arena, being observant was her most basic quality. How could she not notice the fiery and curious gaze that Jishu locked onto her legs? Luo Yuzhu took a deep breath and said, someone come. Escort the spirit clan siblings to the side of the young prince. As soon as she finished speaking, 2 black-clad individuals brought Ji Yuyao and Ji Yujian in front of Jishu. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the mission, Spirit Clan Girl. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a mission reward of 6,300 Essence of Destiny. Spirit Clan Girl, Ji Yuyao. Jishu looked at the beautiful and charming girl in front of him and smiled warmly. Ji Yuyao, greetings to the young prince. Ji Yuyao clenched her fists and spoke respectfully. But her beautiful eyes were filled with vigilance. On the other hand, Ji Yujian trembled as he held onto his sister's clothes, seeking a sense of security. Unlike Ji Yuyao, he wasn't as brave. In his eyes, Jishu was too noble and high above him. He didn't even have the courage to meet Jishu's gaze. Seeing this, Jishu didn't say anything. He just looked at Ji Yuyao, who was almost naked after the battle, and considerately took out a black robe from his storage ring and draped it over her. And Jishu noticed, when he was putting the robe on Ji Yuyao. Ji Yuyao subconsciously took a small step back. Clearly, this was a display of her extreme lack of security and distrust towards him. But he didn't mind. After all, as a girl who had fought her way out of the cruel arena after a journey of hardships, who could she trust at this point? Let's go. I'll take you home. Ji Shu smiled warmly at Ji Yu Yao. Home. Ji Yu Jian was taken aback. For him, home was a very unfamiliar word. I don't have a home. Ji Yu Yao's beautiful eyes dimmed as she looked at Ji Shu, her voice cold and harsh. Since she could remember, she had been hiding with her family. And then, her family died tragically. She and her brother were sold into the dark arena and trained as gladiators. The concept of home had long ceased to exist for her. She only had her brother. Upon hearing these words, Ji Shu silently looked into Ji Yu Yao's beautiful eyes. He paused for a moment and solemnly said, "From now on, wherever I, the young prince, will be your home." Upon hearing this, Ji Yu Yao's face stiffened, and she stood still in place. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. She didn't know how much of Ji Shu's words were true and how much were false. Just then, a cold voice rang out. Crimson Cloth Church, Shen Nanfang. Greetings to the young prince. Crimson Cloth Church. One of the 7 major cultivation sects in the profound heaven continent. Shen Nanfang, the young master of Crimson Cloth Church. 17 years old, in the life soil realm. One of the heirs of Crimson Cloth Church. There is a chance of becoming the saint child of Crimson Cloth Church. Elder Wei secretly transmitted a message to Ji Shu. It seems that he is unwilling and wants to force his way through with a higher bid. But, is this all? Ji Shu looked disdainfully at Shen Nanfang and a guardian of Crimson Cloth Church who were approaching them. Today, not to mention a young master of Crimson Cloth Church. Even if a true important figure from Crimson Cloth Church came, so what? Your Highness, the young prince. Only 3 years old. And already in the life soil realm. And to be able to spend such a large sum of 90 million gold coins to buy gladiators, the future looks promising. Shen Nanfang smiled with his hands behind his back. What then? Ji Shu looked at Shen Nanfang with interest. Upon hearing this, Shen Nanfang looked at Ji Shu playfully and confirmed, "Is it really at this point?" Your Highness, the young prince. You should have heard of my Crimson Cloth Church, right? Ji Shu responded calmly with a light, Good. Since that's the case, I wonder if Your Highness, the young prince, can give face to my Crimson Cloth Church. Shen Nanfang's lips curled up, confident in his chest. In his eyes, Ji Shu was just a 3-year-old child. No matter how talented he was, his experience was limited. It was understandable that he had opposed Crimson Cloth Church before knowing its reputation. But now that he knew, he should think twice. Specifics. Ji Shu asked concisely. Very well, since Your Highness, the young prince, is so straightforward, then I might as well speak directly. My Crimson Cloth Church has taken a liking to this pair of Spirit Clan siblings. I wonder if Your Highness, the young prince, can do me a favor and give them to my Crimson Cloth Church. Of course, my Crimson Cloth Church won't take it for free. Within 3 days, I will gather 1 billion gold coins and return them to you. In this way, Your Highness, the young prince, will earn 10 million, plus a favor from my Crimson Cloth Church, which will be returned in the future. How do you feel about this deal? Shen Nanfang spoke without a smile. In his opinion, this deal was already secure when he mentioned the name of Crimson Cloth Church. After all, his Crimson Cloth Church was one of the top cultivation sects in the profound heaven continent, with a history of thousands of years. Not to mention the first military family of the Northern Xia dynasty. Even the Northern Xia royal family had to give him face. As soon as he finished speaking, the influential figures in the dark arena frowned and began to whisper. This Shen Nanfang is really domineering. Always mentioning Crimson Cloth Church. Is this negotiation? It's clearly a threat. Alas, even if it's a threat, what can we do? The Ji family is strong, but its foundation is ultimately not comparable to the top cultivation sects that have been passed down for thousands of years. In the end, they will have to back down. That's right, even if the young prince of the Ji family has extraordinary talent, he still needs time to grow. The best outcome tonight would be for the young prince to take the favor from Crimson Cloth Church and make money and leave. This deal is not bad, the Ji family won't lose out. Dot 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 dot. On the arena, Luo Yuzhu saw this scene. She didn't say anything, because there were no rules in the dark arena that prohibited private transactions. As long as both parties agreed, it was allowed. What was worth mentioning was that her gaze occasionally glanced in the direction of the earth-profound pavilion. That look carried an incredible amount of respect and reverence. Dot 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 dot. In the earth-profound pavilion, the girl in the feathered dress said seriously, resting her chin on her hand. Master, I think this deal is not bad. Jishu should agree to it. Earning 10 million for nothing. Plus a favor from Crimson Cloth Church. Where else can you find such a good deal? Hee hee. The mysterious woman chuckled lightly. A touch of disdain appeared on her enchanting and cold face. She lightly opened her red lips and said playfully, Zan Yin, do you really think Jishu lacks those 10 million gold coins? And as for the favor from Crimson Cloth Church, it's worth nothing. Dot 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 dot. Your Highness, the young prince. What do you think? Shen Nanfang, with a smile on his face, asked Jishu, who seemed to be thinking. And from time to time, he looked at his prey, the Spirit Clan siblings. His greedy and fiery gaze made Ji Yuyao feel uncomfortable all over. She didn't know if Jishu, the young prince of the Ji family, was a good person. But she knew that Shen Nanfang definitely wasn't. If she followed Jishu, perhaps she didn't know what the future would be like. But if Jishu sold them to Shen Nanfang, she felt that her future with Ji Yujian would definitely be extremely dark. At this moment, her heart couldn't help but tighten. Just then, Jishu seemed to have made up his mind. He looked at Shen Nanfang with a serious expression and spoke. I've made up my mind. But I, the prince, have a few questions for you. Please go ahead. Shen Nanfang smiled faintly. At the same time, the powerful figures in the dark arena all perked up their ears. Jishu nodded and then asked with interest. First, what kind of person are you, Shen Nanfang? Second, what does the Crimson Cloth Church mean to you? Third, as a waste who only reached the life soil stage at the age of 17, what qualifications do you have to bark in front of me, the prince? Lastly, do you think you deserve my favor? A calm voice. Not light, not heavy, but enough for everyone in the arena to hear clearly. In that instant, what could be seen was that the expressions on the faces of the adults in the arena were surprisingly consistent. The adults of the Kyoto Imperial Palace. The young masters and misses of the Kyoto aristocratic families. The bosses of the underground forces in Kyoto. They all widened their eyes, their mouths slightly agape, almost enough to fit an egg. To publicly belittle the Crimson Cloth Church and the prince of the Crimson Cloth Church like this. Is this Ji family's young prince crazy? Poochie. Even Luo Yuzhu couldn't help but burst into laughter. Jishu, this kid is incredibly audacious. Yu Ha Tian, the chief of the West Factory, also looked at this interesting scene with a playful expression while holding a teacup. Master, you were right. The girl in the feathered dress, Zan Yin, looked at Jishu with shining eyes. Hee hee. The mysterious woman chuckled lightly, her beautiful eyes finding Jishu more and more interesting. Ji, Shu, you. R, seeking, death. Shen Nanfang looked at Jishu with a gloomy expression, his voice full of resentment. As soon as he finished speaking, the old man in black clothes who had been standing behind Jishu, with his eyes half closed and an unremarkable appearance, looked up at him. Just one glance made him feel as if he were in an icy cave. An extremely cold chill instantly rose from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. He was frozen in place like ice, unable to move at all. Not only him, even the guardians of the Crimson Cloth Church beside him were trembling all over. At this moment, Shen Nanfang suddenly realized that the old man behind Jishu was an existence he couldn't afford to provoke. Jishu, remember this. Today, you have offended my Crimson Cloth Church. In the future, you will definitely regret it. Although he was very afraid, Shen Nanfang clenched his fists and remained defiant. After all, as the prince of the Crimson Cloth Church, he couldn't tarnish the reputation of the Crimson Cloth Church. So this is called offending. Jishu looked puzzled. Then, he shook his head and said, Ji Yuyao, go get a chair for me. Upon hearing this, Ji Yuyao hesitated for a moment. But she still obediently brought a chair from the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion. Just as everyone was wondering what Jishu was up to, Jishu had already stood on the chair. At this moment, the 3-year-old Jishu was already as tall as 17-year-old Shen Nanfang. What do you want? Shen Nanfang gritted his teeth and asked coldly. Remember this. This is what it means to offend. Jishu's mouth curled up in a playful arc. Then, he opened his palm, his arm like a bow. Immediately, under the stunned gaze of everyone in the arena, he slapped Shen Nanfang's face hard. Snap! A crisp slap echoed. Shen Nanfang was sent flying like a cannonball, flying 5 zhong away. He even rolled 7 or 8 times on the ground before finally stopping. The air was filled with the sound of teeth with blood splatters, causing countless people to gasp in shock. When Shen Nanfang staggered to his feet, his left cheek was swollen like a pig's head, and 3 pieces of his teeth had been knocked out. He felt dizzy and about to collapse. Master! The guardians of the Crimson Cloth Church shouted and quickly went forward to support the furious Shen Nanfang. He wanted to say something harsh again, but when he saw the cold and murderous gaze of the old man in black clothes, he immediately swallowed his words. In the end, he only left 2 fleeing figures for the cultivators in the arena. How boring! Jishu shook his head and said to Ji Yuyao and Ji Yujian. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but tonight, the prince is satisfied. Ji Yuyao, Ji Yujian. After speaking, Jishu turned around and left with Ji Yuyao and Ji Yujian. Farewell, Your Highness. Luo Yuzhu smiled and bid farewell. Upon hearing this, Jishu suddenly turned around and glanced at her slender legs. He nodded thoughtfully and left. He thought to himself that the beautiful legs described in novels were indeed not exaggerated. Seeing this, Luo Yuzhu's stunning face flushed with a hint of red. She spat lightly. You little hooligan. After Jishu left, in the Jiuxuan pavilion, Luo Yuzhu stood respectfully in front of the mysterious woman. The mysterious woman carefully observed Luo Yuzhu. After a while, she playfully said, Our Yuzhu is truly stunning. Even the 3-year-old little prince is fascinated by her. It's really interesting. It seems that we will entrust you with the task of capturing the little prince of the Ji family in the future. After speaking, the mysterious woman reached out and lightly touched Luo Yuzhu's thigh. Master is joking. The little prince of the Ji family is only 3 years old. He is still a child. Why talk about capturing or not capturing? Luo Yuzhu smiled awkwardly. Master, please don't bully Sister Yuzhu. The young girl Zan Yin said helplessly. All right. The mysterious woman chuckled and withdrew her slender jade hand. Master, now that the little prince of the Ji family has taken the siblings of the Spirit Clan, do you think the Crimson Cloth Church will give up? Luo Yuzhu asked solemnly. Of course not. If it were me, I would forcefully take them. The mysterious woman responded casually. Forcefully take them. In the capital, this is the territory of the Northern Sha royal family. How dare they? Zan Yin couldn't believe it. HMPH. The mysterious woman snorted lightly. If the important figures in the capital allow it, why wouldn't they dare? Speaking of this, she seemed to think of something. With a turn of the conversation, her red lips curved into a mocking smile. But, this time they will meet their match. In the western factory of the capital. This place is known as the Yanluo Hall of the Northern Sha dynasty, where people enter but never leave. Both the nobles and the powerful families are filled with fear for this place. Sir, what do you mean by this? Shen Nanfang, the young master of the Crimson Cloth Church, stood pale in the hall of the western factory. The air was filled with a nauseating smell of blood. The ears were filled with terrifying screams. There's nothing. I just heard that you want to forcefully break into the Ji family military mansion. I don't know if this is true or false. Yu Ha Tian sat in a chair, leisurely sipping tea. Upon hearing this, Shen Nanfang's eyelids twitched, and he nervously replied. It is rumored that the Western Factory of the capital is the most powerful intelligence organization in Northern Sha. Today, I see that the rumors are true. Yes, I do want to forcefully break into the Ji family military mansion and retrieve what rightfully belongs to the Crimson Cloth Church. What, are you trying to stop me, sir? No, no, no. Yu Ha Tian shook his head, then spoke. If you want to break into the Ji family military mansion, I can provide some small assistance. Oh, Shen Nanfang looked at Yu Ha Tian in surprise and asked. Sir, can you provide us with powerful individuals? He. Yu Ha Tian smiled and replied. No, I can't. But I can guarantee that when you take action, at least, the Northern Sha Palace will not interfere. What do you think? That's enough. Shen Nanfang nodded coldly. He wasn't a fool, so he naturally knew what the Northern Sha royal family was planning. They were just using him to test the depth of the Ji family military mansion. To be honest, he didn't care about being used. What he cared about was whether he could capture the siblings of the Spirit Clan. As long as he could do that, he could accept anyone's help. Besides, now that Yu Ha Tian could guarantee that the Northern Sha Palace wouldn't interfere, that was the best help he could get. In that case, I wish you good luck in advance, young master. Yu Ha Tian said with a smiling face. Upon hearing this, Shen Nanfang nodded and left the Western factory. When he returned to the luxurious courtyard where he lived, he took out a red token engraved with the holy fire and handed it to the guardian of the Crimson Cloth Church. Give the holy fire token to the bishop. I hope he will come to Kyoto to help me. And, contact my contacts in the mortal world. I will gather 1 billion within 3 days. To avenge the humiliation Ji Shu gave me. I want him to pay with his life. Yes, the guardian of the Crimson Cloth Church took the holy fire token and disappeared into the night. Ji Shu spent 90 million gold coins to buy the Spirit Clan siblings, causing a huge uproar in the city overnight. The Ji family military mansion naturally learned about this news immediately. Ji Shu's father, Ji Shao, felt heartbroken upon hearing this news. 90 million gold coins. Such a large sum of money. This is equivalent to the annual military expenses of the Ji family's million-strong iron floating tower army. You brat, watch me beat his ass tonight. Ji Shao angrily exclaimed. After saying that, he rolled up his sleeves and was about to go find Ji Shu to give him a good beating. How dare you? Mu Hua glared at Ji Shao and fiercely protected her son, saying. I have plenty of money. My grandson can spend as much as he wants. Do you have any objections? If you dare to lay a hand on my grandson, I'll disable you first. Mother. Ji Shao looked at Mu Hua's fierce gaze and couldn't help but shrink back, speechless for a while. All right, if 90 million is spent, then so be it. The Ji family can afford it. If outsiders find out, they might think that I, Ji Nu, can't afford to raise my precious grandson. Grandfather Ji Nu also spoke up, and he clearly stood on Ji Shu's side. Spending money is a small matter. But this time, Shoer has offended the Crimson Cloth Church. That is one of the 7 top-level cultivation sects in the profound heaven continent. What should we do? Mother Lin Ru's face was full of worry. If 90 million is spent, she doesn't mind. Her only concern is the safety of her son. Hee. Grandmother Mu Hua sneered. The Crimson Cloth Church. What are they? If they dare to have any ideas about Shoer, they will be in chaos. Ji Mansion, in the Moonfall Palace. Mu Bing sat in the courtyard, her mind restless. Just now, she learned that Ji Shu had spent 90 million to buy a pair of Spirit Clan siblings. The Ji Yu siblings. Could it be them? Just as her thoughts reached this point, Mu Bing suddenly stood up. And at this moment, a cold voice sounded. Binger, what are you thinking about? Upon hearing this, Mu Bing hurriedly approached and grabbed her master's sleeve, nervously asking. Master, what are the names of the Spirit Clan siblings that Ji Shu spent 90 million to buy? Mu Chu thought for a moment and said. Ji Yu Yao. Ji Yu Jian. Hearing these 2 familiar names, Mu Bing's pretty face suddenly changed. Ji Yu Yao is her best friend, the future empress of the Spirit Clan. Ji Yu Jian is also the future Spirit Sword Sovereign. If they fall into Ji Shu's hands, the consequences would be unimaginable. How could this happen? Mu Bing murmured to herself, somewhat absent-minded. The thing she was most worried about had indeed happened. Hee. Mu Chu looked at Mu Bing's worried face and smiled gently. Binger, it's not a big deal. Ji Shu just offended the Crimson Cloth Church, that's all. Binger, rest assured, I will protect him. Mu Bing snapped back to her senses and asked in surprise. Master, do you really want to protect that brat? Silly girl. Mu Chu looked at Mu Bing with a smile on her face, reached out and gently patted her head, saying. If I don't protect him, Who will? After all, he is your future husband. Mu Bing was speechless upon hearing this. She clenched her teeth and bit her red lips, whispering in a voice that only she could hear, full of grievances. It would be better if this arrogant died. She didn't expect that. She just didn't pay attention to Jishu for one night. And when she woke up, her best friend had become Jishu's possession. Jishu, how dare you have any ideas about Yaoer? This emperor will not spare you. Thinking of this, Mu Bing had already decided to find an opportunity tonight to meet Ji Yu Yao. No matter what, she couldn't let her dear best friend fall into Jishu's clutches. The moonlit night arrives. The bright moon hangs in the sky. The cold moonlight spills onto the windowsill of the fallen maple palace. Jishu sits on the bed and opens the character panel. Name: Jishu. Age: 3 years old. Identity: Crown Prince of the Northern Xia Dynasty. Cultivation: Life Soil Realm. Bloodline Constitution: Divine Heart Demon Bone. 3 major realm gates not yet opened. Conditions for awakening the 3 major realm gates: Demonic Advent 10,000 Essence of Destiny, Divine Prohibition 100,000 Essence of Destiny, Immortal Ash 1,000,000 Essence of Destiny. Cultivation Techniques: Immortal Devouring Demonic Technique cultivated to the 2nd realm, Flying Dragon Cloud Piercing Hand entry level. Weapons: Great Principle Sword Fetus, Ghost Flute Sentiment. Essence of Destiny, 10,800 points. Fate level: Black, Soul Destruction. System Store, opened. Task System, opened. Warehouse, Soul Seizing Nail, One Piece, Soul Seizing Trilogy. System Prompt: More information can be expanded. Finally, my Essence of Destiny has exceeded 10,000. Jishu takes a deep breath and then calls out in his mind. Activate Demonic Advent. As soon as he finishes speaking, a prompt sound from the system is heard. Ding. System Prompt: Activating the 1st realm gate, Demonic Advent requires consuming 10,000 Essence of Destiny. Please confirm again, host. Activate. Jishu doesn't hesitate at all. What a joke. With just 10,000 Essence of Destiny, he can activate the 1st Bloodline realm gate. Is there anything to consider? That's enough of that thought. Jishu feels a wave of heat hitting his body. His blood starts to boil. Not only that, but every inch of his meridians in his body is burning with crimson demonic flames. In the depths of his eyes, 2 blazing demonic flames slowly bloom and drift out of his eye sockets. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully opening the 1st Bloodline realm gate, Demonic Advent. Demonic Advent. Burning demonic flames, otherworldly blood pupils, the descent of a demon god, exponential increase in combat power, capable of killing enemies up to 8 small realms higher. System Prompt: Consumes an astonishing amount, please be cautious, host. It's a success. Jishu exhales a breath of hot air. His mood is undoubtedly good. It took him 3 years to gather 10,000 Essence of Destiny to open the 1st Bloodline realm gate, which can be considered worth it. Demonic Advent is activated. This will be his super trump card. And also his confidence, although he only has 800 Essence of Destiny left in his body. But these 10,000 Essence of Destiny were definitely well spent. Just then, a voice from Wei Lao is heard outside the palace gate. Young Crown Prince, the banquet is ready. Upon hearing this, Jishu slowly opens his eyes, makes a soft sound of agreement, and then walks out of the palace gate. At this time, the stone table in the courtyard is filled with a sumptuous banquet. Ji Yu Yao and Ji Yu Jian, the 2 siblings, stand beside Wei Lao without moving. Please sit. Jishu smiles and takes the lead to sit down, then waves his hand at the Ji Yu siblings. Upon hearing this, Ji Yu Yao and Ji Yu Jian obediently sit opposite Jishu. Let's eat, Jishu casually says. Upon hearing these words, Ji Yu Yao and Ji Yu Jian exchange a glance. But in the end, they don't say anything. They pick up their chopsticks and start eating. It is worth mentioning that neither Ji Yu Yao nor Ji Yu Jian have ever tasted such a sumptuous dish. Instead, they keep eating the white rice in their bowls. Don't just focus on eating. Try some dishes. Jishu says helplessly. Young Crown Prince, when our mother was alive, she used to say that rice is the best thing in the world. With rice, we won't starve. So we can just eat rice. Ji Yu Jian timidly speaks up. Jishu scratches his head, thinking that what he said seems to be correct. However, these siblings have really done their best to survive until now. What do you want to do in the future? Jishu puts down his chopsticks and looks at Gugn. In the future, I want to protect my sister. I don't want my sister to be hurt again. And I want to find the people who killed our mother and father. I want them to pay with their lives. Gugn responds softly with lowered eyes. Upon hearing this, Ji Yuyao's eyes immediately turn red. Okay. Jishu nods and smiles, then seriously thinks for a moment before speaking. Regarding this matter, I can help you, but there is a condition. Upon hearing this, Gugn suddenly raises his eyes. Without saying a word, he kneels in front of Jishu, tears shimmering in his eyes. Young Crown Prince, as long as you can make me stronger. No matter what you ask, I can do it. Good. Jishu nods and smiles, then says. Your talent is not bad. If you are truly determined, I can give you power. But, in the future, I need a sword. Upon hearing this, Ji Yuyao's face changed slightly as she was about to speak. But Gugn spoke without hesitation. I am willing to become the sword of the little prince. Hee. Jishu's lips curled slightly, then he turned to look at Wei Lao. Since that's the case, Wei Lao, would you like to be Gugn's teacher? Upon hearing this, Wei Lao was taken aback. He didn't expect Jishu to turn to him after going around in circles. Ahem. Wei Lao cleared his throat and said, Little prince. I don't know if this kid can handle it. He's someone you spent a lot of money to buy. If he dies in my hands, it wouldn't be good. Upon hearing this, Jishu shook his head and said, Don't worry, he won't die. His potential and talent are even stronger than you think. What a joke. Wei Lao used to be the chief instructor of the continent's top assassin organization. It would be a waste not to make use of him. Although the mortality rate of his disciples was quite high. But Gugn is a genius with supreme bones, the future spirit sword venerable. His potential is definitely transcendence. If that's the case, then he must be nurtured properly. In the future, he will definitely become a sharp blade in his hands. After a long silence, Wei Lao finally nodded and said, Since that's the case, I will do my best to give it a try. Jishu had already said so much. He naturally couldn't refuse. Greetings, teacher. I will strive to survive under your guidance. Gugn kowtowed to Wei Lao 3 times. Hopefully. Wei Lao nodded, then bent down to help Gugn up. Let's go. I will personally train you. From today onwards, you will eat and live with me. After saying that, Wei Lao bowed to Jishu, then left the courtyard with Gugn. He knew that Jishu had something to say to Ji Yuyao, so he took Gugn away first. Now, only Jishu and Ji Yuyao were left in the fallen maple courtyard. Ji Yuyao watched Gugn leave from a distance, her face filled with the words, worried. But she didn't stop him, nor could she, because this was the path Gugn chose for himself. Don't look. Your younger brother has already chosen the path he wants to take. It's time for you to let go. Jishu casually spoke. The path he wants to take. Hey. Ji Yuyao's voice turned cold, her beautiful eyes red and teary as she questioned Jishu. He is my only younger brother. But you want him to become a killing sword in your hands. What, do you still expect me to be grateful to you? Upon hearing these words, the smile on Jishu's face disappeared, and he looked at Ji Yuyao calmly and said, All the misfortunes in the world are caused by the incompetence of the parties involved. Your younger brother has already understood this truth. That's why he is willing to entrust his future to me. If you don't want to, I can let you leave. If you want, you can leave now. What? Ji Yuyao's face changed. She couldn't say a word for a long time. Jishu could let her leave. But even if she left, where could she go? She only had her younger brother now. Hee. It seems like you don't want to leave. Jishu looked at Ji Yuyao, who was stunned in place, and sneered coldly. You. Ji Yuyao was speechless, her chest heaving violently. There was no doubt that Jishu had her firmly in his grasp. Since you're not leaving, then, I hope you won't defy my words in the future. What I say, you do. Jishu's gaze coldly pressed against Ji Yuyao. I can't be your sword. My meridians are already disabled by half. Ji Yuyao said sadly. 3 years in the training ground. She had used the Spirit Clan's secret technique, bloodline ignition, many times. As a result, she had severely overdrawn her cultivation potential. In the future, if she could reach the life soil realm, it would be thanks to the heavens' favor. He. Ji Shu shook his head and laughed lightly, looking at Ji Yuyao with a mocking expression. Who said I wanted you to be my sword? The little prince is currently lacking a maid. Will you do it? A maid? Ji Yuyao lowered her eyes, biting her red lips, and after a long silence, she looked straight at Ji Shu and stubbornly replied. I will. Why not? Good. Very good. Ji Shu nodded, then looked Ji Yuyao up and down before casually speaking. Since that's the case, then follow me. Go where? Ji Yuyao furrowed her brows and asked. To the palace. Ji Shu glanced at Ji Yuyao and responded with 2 words. Ha! Ji Yuyao took a deep breath and followed Ji Shu into the fallen maple palace expressionlessly. Since she had agreed to become Ji Shu's maid, she naturally had mentally prepared herself for everything that would happen. Inside the fallen maple palace. The candlelight was warm, and a large and luxurious palace bed was placed in the center. Behind a screen engraved with dragons and phoenixes was a huge and magnificent bath. What do you want? Ji Yuyao asked in a low voice. Come and sit up here. Ji Shu pointed to his own palace bed. Upon hearing these words, Ji Yuyao glared fiercely at Ji Shu, but still sat in the corner of the palace bed. At this moment, it must be said that although she was mentally prepared, her heart was still extremely uneasy. And then, Ji Yuyao looked at Ji Shu with a piercing gaze, her exquisitely beautiful face showing stubbornness. Don't speak. Ji Shu became a little impatient. He thought to himself, this woman is really indecisive. Ji Yuyao was at a loss for words, looking at Ji Shu with a face full of grievances. Get ready. It's starting. Ji Shu spoke slowly. After speaking, he activated the immortal devouring demonic technique. Before Ji Yuyao could react, he directly pointed at the numerous sword wounds and scars on Ji Yuyao's back. Clang! A burst of starlight bloomed, then immediately concealed itself within Ji Yuyao's body. At this moment, Ji Yuyao felt that the previously lifeless meridians in her body were unexpectedly beginning to radiate vitality. So, he wants to help me repair my meridians. Ji Yuyao suddenly realized. Just at this moment, Ji Shu suddenly spoke up to remind her. It might be very painful next. You have to endure it. Ji Yuyao was stunned for a moment, she hadn't even had a chance to speak. Immediately, a piercing pain from her limbs and bones made her body tremble violently. Ji Yuyao tightly furrowed her delicate eyebrows and let out a painful cry. She had suffered many injuries before, but none of the pain caused by those wounds could compare to 1/10 of what she was feeling now. The meridians in her body seemed to be twisted by a knife again. Every inch of her bones seemed to be shattered and then reassembled by a strange force. Ji Yuyao tightly bit her red lips, her beautiful face filled with pain, and fine sweat covered her smooth forehead. Endure it. Ji Shu coldly responded with 2 words. The immortal devouring demonic technique was the strongest body refining technique. Ji Yuyao's meridians were severely damaged now, and her body had hidden injuries everywhere. If not repaired in time, her future cultivation potential might really be very low. However, repairing the meridians and treating her hidden injuries had a high cost and might not necessarily work. Therefore, Ji Shu decided to use the immortal devouring demonic technique to reshape her meridians and rebuild her body. But, this method was indeed painful. It was a pain that ordinary people couldn't bear. It hurts. It really hurts. Ji Yuyao tightly bit her red lips, but the sound of her painful moans still rang out loudly. The entire fallen maple palace is filled with a distinct scent. Outside the fallen maple palace. The bright moon hangs high, and maple leaves gently fall. A graceful figure stands under the moonlight. Her silver hair cascades down, exuding a cold temperament. Her stunningly beautiful face is filled with anger. Her gaze burns fiercely as she stares at the fallen maple palace, her hands clenched tightly, trembling with rage. Ji Shu, what have you done to my Yaoer? I won't spare you. Mu Bing grits her teeth, emanating a chilling murderous intent. The agonizing moans of Ji Yuyao from within the fallen maple palace almost drive her to madness. At this moment, she finally understands why Ji Yuyao in her past life hated Ji Shu so much. With this in mind, Mu Bing doesn't hesitate and kicks open the palace doors. But what she sees before her fills her with fury. Ji Yuyao's clothes are thin, her hair disheveled, and her forehead covered in sweat. Her face is exhausted and haggard as she lies on the bed. Clearly, she has been subjected to inhumane torture. Are you insane? Ji Shu pants heavily, looking at Mu Bing with a bewildered expression. Ji Shu, get out of here. Mu Bing angrily scolds him and can't bear to look at Ji Yuyao any longer. She is even more afraid that she will harm Ji Yuyao, who has no cultivation. So, after speaking, she turns around and leaves the fallen maple palace, standing in the courtyard. Are you out of your mind? Ji Shu, with his hands behind his back, comes to the courtyard and looks at the expressionless Mu Bing as if she were crazy. You think you're invincible just because you've reached the life soil realm. Do you know a saying? There is always someone better, and there are always heavens beyond heavens. Mu Bing grits her teeth, her voice cold and biting. After speaking, she reaches out her jade hand and tears off the necklace around her neck. Clang! Two brilliant golden lights bloom in Mu Bing's beautiful eyes. Her cultivation begins to soar, reaching the 8th realm of Qi refining. Reaching the 9th realm of Qi refining. Reaching the life soil realm. In just a few breaths, her cultivation directly ascends from the 7th realm of Qi refining to the life soil realm. So, you were hiding your cultivation before. Ji Shu raises an eyebrow. Although he is somewhat surprised at this moment, it is not unexpected. After all, Mu Bing before her rebirth was an immortal emperor who astonished the world with her talent. Now, it is normal for her to reach the life soil realm at the age of only 7. Today, I will definitely not let you go. Mu Bing coldly gazes at Ji Shu, her eyes shining with golden brilliance, as if an immortal emperor has descended to the mortal realm. You brought this upon yourself. Don't blame me. Ji Shu's lips curl up with a playful smile. He is currently empty-handed and lacking essence of destiny, and now Mu Bing has come to him. This can be considered quite considerate. Moonfall Palace. Mu Chu suddenly opens her eyes wide, her eyebrows furrowing as she looks in the direction of the fallen maple palace and murmurs to herself. Binger has lifted the seal. What is this little girl planning to do? Does she really intend to kill her future husband with her own hands? This cannot be allowed. Absolutely not. After speaking, she turns around and disappears on the spot. The night was thick, and the moonlight was bright. In front of the fallen maple palace, Mu Bing's eyes were shining with brilliant golden light. She stood with her hands behind her back, exuding an overwhelming aura, like an unrivaled empress. Ji Shu, come and fight. Mu Bing locked her beautiful eyes on Ji Shu, her voice as cold as eternal ice. She knew that no matter what she did today, she couldn't kill Ji Shu in the Ji mansion. But Ji Shu had bullied Ji Yuyao, so she at least wanted to beat him up a bit to get some revenge. Hee. Ji Shu shook his head and smiled lightly, not saying a word, just quietly looking at Mu Bing. The atmosphere became heavy for a moment. Mu Bing stomped on the ground fiercely, and in an instant, she appeared in front of Ji Shu like a fleeting aurora. Boom! She threw a punch, and a terrifying sonic boom echoed in the air. Demonic Advent. Activate. Ji Shu remained calm and instantly activated the first level of his demonic heart and divine bones. In an instant, 2 crimson amaryllis flowers bloomed deep in his eyes. The flowers bloomed brightly, and the demonic flames rose. Too slow. Ji Shu slowly uttered 2 words, feeling somewhat surprised by the changes that had occurred within himself. After activating the demonic advent, he could clearly see Mu Bing's attack trajectory, the point of impact, and even predict her next attack. In a short moment, he had come up with more than 10 ways to defeat Mu Bing in his mind. After activating the demonic advent, his combat abilities and danger perception had increased by dozens of times. Clang! Mu Bing shattered Ji Shu's figure with a punch. The punch missed. Afterimage, Mu Bing frowned. In her understanding, a cultivator at the life soil realm should not have such terrifying speed. What's wrong? Surprised, Ji Shu's playful voice sounded. Mu Bing suddenly turned around and found that Ji Shu had appeared behind her at some point. She clenched her silver teeth and coldly stared at Ji Shu, fiercely uttering a sentence. Ji Shu, you deserve to die. After speaking, Mu Bing's figure flickered and suddenly appeared in front of Ji Shu. Boom, 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 boom. She mercilessly attacked Ji Shu, with a powerful offensive and extremely fast speed, so fast that the void was filled with her afterimages. However, Ji Shu was able to easily and perfectly dodge every one of her attacks. It was as if he had already predicted and seen through every move she made. How is this possible? Mu Bing became more and more shocked as she fought. She had already made dozens of moves, but she hadn't even touched Ji Shu's clothes. According to reason, there shouldn't be such a big gap between her cultivation realm and Ji Shu's. How is this impossible? Ji Shu looked at Mu Bing with a playful expression. It had to be said that Mu Bing's combat power was indeed formidable. It was not an exaggeration to say that her combat power far surpassed the life soil realm. Even if she fought against a cultivator at the life soil 3rd or even 5th realm, it would be like playing for her. But after activating the demonic advent, he was stronger than her. Ice of the extreme. Meteor kill. Mu Bing's eyes gleamed with cold light as she madly formed hand seals. She no longer held back, wanting to see Ji Shu's limits. The ice shone brightly, and the elements in the world trembled violently. Ha! Mu Bing lightly shouted, pointing her finger at Ji Shu. Clang, 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 clang. Hundreds of sharp ice shards flew through the shattering void like shooting stars towards Ji Shu. It's over. Ji Shu's lips curled up. Demonic advent, full power. The blazing demonic flames instantly floated out of his eye sockets. The true essence in his body burned like it had been ignited. With every step he took, a flame footprint appeared behind him. At this moment, he truly had the demeanor of a demon god. At this speed, at most 10 seconds, my true essence will be completely depleted. But 10 seconds is more than enough. Ji Shu took a deep breath, then fiercely stomped on the ground and flew out like a cannonball. Ha! Ji Shu let out a cold shout as he threw a punch, leaving behind a blazing trail. Even the air carried the smell of burning. Boom! In an instant, the ice shards shattered, and ice fragments filled the sky, spreading invisible ripples in the void. Is this all you've got? Ji Shu approached Mu Bing with a calm voice. Mu Bing looked at Ji Shu, who was just inches away, and her eyes trembled violently. She didn't expect Ji Shu to be this strong. Before she could finish her sentence, Ji Shu's finger tapped her forehead. A mortal devouring demonic technique, profound power surged, and faint halos bloomed. Clang! In an instant, all of her meridians were sealed. At this moment, Mu Bing lost control of her body and couldn't move under the suppression of Ji Shu's profound power. If Ji Shu wanted to, he could end Mu Bing's life in the next second. However, Ji Shu didn't do that. After all, Mu Bing's master was his aunt, Mu Chu. If I kill Mu Bing now, Ji family will definitely break ties with Divine Ice Palace. At this moment, I still need the deterrence of Divine Ice Palace against the Northern Sha royal family. So killing Mu Bing at this point in time is meaningless. Moreover, it will plunge myself and Ji family into an abyss. Besides, I still need Mu Bing to occasionally provide me with essence of destiny. For example, now, Ji Shu's lips curled slightly. What do you want to do? Mu Bing had a bad premonition in her heart. Flying dragon cloud piercing hand. Ji Shu murmured in his heart, and then a divine light bloomed from his palm and swept towards Mu Bing. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully stealing 500 Essence of Destiny. Ah! Mu Bing exclaimed angrily. Ji Shu! You dare! She never expected that Ji Shu would be even more audacious than when they first met. She wanted to fight back, but she couldn't move at the moment. 5 seconds left. Ji Shu ignored Mu Bing. He began to attack Mu Bing frantically. Ding! Congratulations to the host for stealing 300 Essence of Destiny. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining 800 Essence of Destiny. Ding! Congratulations to the host for stealing 200 Essence of Destiny. Ding! Congratulations to the host for stealing a Tianyang pill. Ding! Congratulations to the host for stealing a purple cloud soft armor. Wait, it seems like I've stolen something strange. Ji Shu scratched his head. At this moment, the demonic advent state ended. His true essence was depleted. A feeling of weakness washed over him. Ji Shu's legs went weak, and he sat directly on the ground. Just then, an angry voice sounded. Ji Shu, What are you doing? As soon as the words fell, Jishu looked up and saw his mother, Lin Ru, coming to the courtyard of Fallen Maple Palace. She stood with her hands on her hips, her face full of anger as she looked at him. Mother, listen to my explanation. Jishu raised his hand and shouted. You brat, what explanation do you need? Lin Ru pointed at the purple cloud soft armor in Jishu's hand and shouted angrily. Upon hearing this, Jishu glanced at the fragrant purple soft armor in his hand and was stunned. Jishu was speechless for a moment. The facts were right in front of him. No matter how much he explained, it would seem like a cover-up. He didn't expect that he could actually strip Mu Bing's protective armor using the flying dragon cloud-piercing hand. Today, watch me beat your ass. Lin Ru took a big step forward, grabbed Jishu's ear without saying a word, and walked towards Fallen Maple Palace. When Lin Ru arrived at Fallen Maple Palace, she saw an even more shocking scene. There was a girl lying on her son's bed. And that girl was Ji Yu Yao. Ah, a roar like that of a mother tiger resounded. Jishu, today, I won't let you off. Jishu. ... Mu Bing stood dumbfounded in place. Her delicate body trembled, her teeth clenched, her rosy lips tightly. Her icy eyes were shaking violently. She had intended to gain some advantage for Ji Yu Yao. But the result was cruel. She couldn't even protect the Divine Ice Palace's protective treasure, the purple cloud soft armor. The cold night wind blew. Mu Bing couldn't help but shiver. You, Jishu, how dare you? Mu Bing's pretty face was flushed, and her jade hand clenched tightly as her entire body trembled with true chi. ... Outside Fallen Maple Palace, Mu Chu and her grandmother, Mu Hua, stood together and looked into the distance. With the current situation, if these two kids don't get married, I'm afraid it won't end well. Grandmother Mu Hua spoke helplessly. Yes, Mu Chu nodded. She agreed with Mu Hua's view. After a while, she looked towards Fallen Maple Palace and sighed. This kid is truly extraordinary. At such a young age, not only in the life soil realm, but also possessing at least the 8th level of the life soil realm in terms of combat power. It seems, this marriage is indeed the right choice. He. Mu Hua chuckled lightly and said, Senior sister, you truly live up to your reputation. You always have a unique perspective on things. In the Fallen Maple Palace, Ji Yu Yao lowered her eyes, hesitant to speak. Jishu sat on the bed, looking at Lin Ru with a grievance and whispered, Mother. You've really misunderstood. I really didn't do anything. HMPH. Lin Ru coldly snorted. At this point, she naturally knew that her son and Ji Yu Yao hadn't done anything. Jishu was simply helping Ji Yu Yao reshape her meridians. And upon careful consideration, she realized that she had acted rashly earlier. Regarding Ji Yu Yao's matter, I won't pursue it anymore. But what about Mu Bing? I have to say, you're quite something, kid. Lin Ru angrily questioned. Well, it was an accident. Jishu helplessly shrugged. His intention was only to steal a bit of essence of destiny to replenish his blood. But who would have thought that he would actually steal Mu Bing's purple cloud armor? Enough, you don't need to explain so much to me. I'll deal with you later. Lin Ru finished speaking, then reached out her hand towards Jishu, commanding, give it to me. What? Jishu was full of question marks. You. Lin Ru stepped forward and knocked Jishu's head, somewhat frustrated, and said, Mu Bing's purple cloud armor. Don't tell me you're reluctant to give it up. How is that possible? Jishu vigorously shook his head, then quickly handed the purple cloud armor to Lin Ru. HMPH. Lin Ru lightly snorted, took the purple cloud armor, and then turned and left. Bang! When the palace gate closed, Jishu let out a long sigh, then looked at Ji Yu Yao and said, I mean, do you believe this was an accident? Upon hearing this, Ji Yu Yao was stunned, her face blushing slightly as she nodded, yes. I believe it. After all, as the crown prince, it's possible to be curious about certain new things. Sigh. Jishu sighed lightly upon hearing this. That's true. If I were you, I wouldn't believe it either. But, it doesn't matter. Thinking of this, Jishu shook his head, then took out a Tianyang pill he had stolen from Mu Bing from his storage ring. Here, eat it. Mu Bing looked at the pill, which looked like a dragon eye, and was momentarily stunned as she asked softly, "What is this?" Upon hearing this, Ji Shu casually responded, "This is a Tianyang pill. It can help you recover the true blood you burned before." Oh, Ji Yu Yao nodded, then took the Tianyang pill. At this moment, she suddenly remembered something. The Tianyang pill was a top-grade spiritual pill unique to the Divine Ice Palace, with the effect of blood regeneration and beauty enhancement. So, everything he did, it was all for this Tianyang pill. And, for me, Ji Yu Yao was momentarily lost in thought. And Ji Shu looked at Ji Yu Yao, very seriously, and said, "This is just the beginning. From now on, I will forge your meridians once a month. Each time, it will be very painful. You need to be prepared." "Oh," Ji Yu Yao softly responded, her gaze becoming more and more bewildered as she looked at the Tianyang pill in her hand. She knew that Ji Shu was doing all this for her own good. She could endure the pain of reshaping her meridians. But she couldn't bear the Tianyang pill. "All right. It's getting late. Take a bath and change clothes. Rest." Ji Shu stood up and stretched his exhausted body. Then, he jumped straight into the steamy bath behind the screen. "Little Crown Prince, return the essence of destiny to Miss Mu Bing, Ji Yu Yao." I'm not worthy. If that's the case, why make Madam so angry? And cause Miss Mu Bing to misunderstand? Ji Yu Yao bit her lip and finally spoke her mind. Subconsciously, she felt that she didn't deserve such good things. "Eat it, or get lost." Ji Shu frowned and spoke firmly. He thought to himself, let others think whatever they want. After all, he made a fortune today. In just 10 seconds, he earned 1800 Essence of Destiny and a Tianyang pill from Mu Bing. Is it really important to explain? And it's highly likely that Mother has already calmed down. As for Mu Bing, let her think whatever she wants. He doesn't care. What he cares about is Ji Yu Yao's future. What is a Tianyang pill worth? I understand. Ji Yu Yao nodded and then bent down to pick up the clothes Ji Shu casually took off and threw on the ground. She looked at Ji Shu's figure behind the screen and murmured absent-mindedly. At such a young age. And already so fierce. ... Ji Mansion, in the Fallen Moon Palace. Mu Bing sat alone on a stone bench in the courtyard, her face full of coldness. Mu Chu looked at her disciple and shook her head with a light smile. "Binger, are you still angry?" Upon hearing this, Mu Bing turned her head to look at Mu Chu. She remained silent for a long time before gritting her teeth and speaking. "Master, Ji Shu insulted me like this. Can you bear it?" Mu Chu nodded thoughtfully and then responded seriously. "As your master, I can bear it. Master, you..." Mu Bing was speechless for a moment, feeling suffocated with anger. Seeing this, Mu Chu approached with a gentle expression and gently stroked Mu Bing's silver hair, comforting her. "But on the other hand, that brat Ji Shu really shouldn't have. After your wedding, you must teach him a lesson. If you don't teach him, who else will?" Upon hearing these words, Mu Bing almost bit her silver teeth to pieces, but in the end, she forcibly swallowed her anger. She knew that now was not the time to confront Ji Shu head-on. Now, the most important thing for her was time. She needed some time to grow, and she also needed to wait for a perfect opportunity. Lost in thought, Mu Bing focused her mind and manipulated her storage ring. After careful consideration and calculation of time, she made a decision. On the night of the wedding. Wait until the night of the wedding. By then, this emperor will have enough power to make the demon god Ji Shu perish. HMPH. For today's humiliation, you will pay with your life in the future. With that, Mu Bing nodded and unconsciously looked down at the storage ring on her hand. At this moment, she suddenly frowned and thought of something. Ji Shu had stolen one of her soul-killing nails before, so what about just now? She quickly checked her storage ring with her hand. After a moment, Mu Bing's stunning face was filled with indignation, and she clenched her fist tightly. She gritted her teeth and cursed in her heart. "My Tianyang pill. Ji Shu, you thief, you shameless thief. Even if you die 10,000 times, it's not enough. Not enough. ... Imperial Palace, Royal Garden. Emperor Long Tian, dressed in a black dragon robe, looked at the fish in the flower pond with deep eyes and casually asked, "How is the situation?" Upon hearing this, the chief of the West Factory, Yu Huatian, slightly bowed and replied in a deep voice. "Reporting to your majesty, Prince Shen Nanfang of the Crimson Cloth Church has spent 1 billion to hire an assassin to come to the capital. It is said that this assassin has successfully assassinated 3 monarch-grade powerhouses without a trace and is ranked 10th on the current assassin list. In addition, Shen Nanfang has also summoned the Holy Fire Order. One of the 3 bishops of the Crimson Cloth Church, Shen Wuhui, is on his way to the capital. At the latest, they will arrive in the capital tomorrow night." "Good. Very good." Emperor Long Tian turned his head and smiled coldly in the direction of Ji Mansion. "Tomorrow night, we await the chaos of the Ji family." Night fell on the second day. Ji Shu and Mu Bing's engagement banquet was held at the Purple Smoke Pavilion. As the first banquet hall of the Ji Mansion, the Purple Smoke Pavilion was built extremely luxuriously. Golden pillars with swirling dragon carvings, red carpets covering the palace, and sparkling decorations exuded a sense of grandeur. When Ji Shu arrived at the entrance of the Purple Smoke Pavilion with Elder Wei, his mother Lin Ru had been waiting in front of the hall for a long time. "You brat, today is a big day for our Ji family. Don't embarrass our Ji family. If you mess around, your mother won't spare you," Lin Ru warned in a low voice. "Mother, I understand," Ji Shu reluctantly responded. Although he said that, he didn't take it too seriously. After all, this was not a wedding, just an engagement. "Mother, you go in first. I have something to discuss with Elder Wei." Ji Shu sent Lin Ru away and then looked at Elder Wei with a serious expression. "Elder Wei, I'm counting on you tonight. You must not let Shen Nanfang leave the capital." Upon hearing this, Elder Wei nodded, as if he remembered something and said softly, "Killing Shen Nanfang is simple. But, Your Highness, the Crown Prince, according to the intelligence I received, Shen Nanfang has used the Sacred Fire Order. Shen Wuhui, one of the 3 bishops of the Crimson Cloth Church, will arrive in the capital tonight. Shen Wuhui has the cultivation of the peak of the monarch rank. I am ashamed to say that I am no match for him." He. Ji Shu smiled mysteriously and said, "Elder Wei, as long as you ensure Shen Nanfang's life or death. As for the bishop of the Crimson Cloth Church, you don't need to worry about it." Elder Wei was stunned for a moment. At this moment, Ji Shu explained in a low voice, "Just say it. The intelligence we can obtain. Do you think Divine Ice Palace wouldn't know about it? Palace Master Mu Chu won't let him step into the capital." "I see." Elder Wei suddenly realized, and he looked at Ji Shu in surprise and asked, "Your Highness, so you have planned all of this?" Ji Shu chuckled and did not deny it. In fact, as early as the Dark Arena, he had noticed that something was wrong with Shen Nanfang. Since Shen Nanfang could spend 80 million to buy Ji Yuyao and Ji Yujian, it meant that Shen Nanfang must know the value of Ji Yuyao and Ji Yujian, just like himself. Well, at least he knew the value of Ji Yujian. If that's the case, he must not let Shen Nanfang leave the capital, or there would be endless troubles. It was precisely because of this that he deliberately insulted the Crimson Cloth Church and slapped Shen Nanfang, seemingly arrogant. All of this was to force him into a desperate situation. Sure enough, as Ji Shu expected, Shen Nanfang couldn't swallow this humiliation. After leaving the arena, he immediately raised funds and spent a fortune to hire a top assassin in the world. He even used the Holy Fire Order and invited Shen Wuhui, one of the 3 bishops of the Crimson Cloth Church, to come to Kyoto. And all of this happened to fall into Ji Shu's plan. Tonight, not only will Shen Nanfang not leave Kyoto, but also make the important figures in Kyoto start to pay attention from today. My Ji family is not someone that anyone can provoke. Cold light flashed in Ji Shu's eyes. That's as far as his thoughts went. After bidding farewell to Old Wei, he turned and walked into the Purple Smoke Pavilion. Inside the Purple Smoke Pavilion, the elders of the Ji family were all present. Grandmother Mu Hua, grandfather Ji Nu, father Ji Shao, mother Lin Ru. Of course, there was also Aunt Mu Chu, the #1 person in the Divine Ice Palace, and Mu Bing. "Shower is here. Let the engagement banquet begin." Mu Hua smiled and spoke. After speaking, She came to Ji Shu's side and handed him a black jade tiger token. On it, a large G character was particularly eye-catching. What is this? This is dragon pattern black gold. Ji Shu was somewhat shocked. Dragon pattern black gold is one of the top treasures on the continent, alongside heavenly tribulation gold and phoenix blood scarlet gold. Youngster, you do have some knowledge. RG family's tiger token is made of dragon pattern black gold. In the future, when you succeed as the head of the G family, you will command a 1,000,000 iron floating pagoda army. Without the G family's tiger token, it won't do. So that's how it is. Ji Shu nodded, and when he held the Ji family's tiger token, a warm and comforting heat instantly spread throughout his body. Later, you will hand the tiger token to Mu Bing. Mu Hua reminded. Oh, Ji Shu responded. There is no doubt that the engagement banquet is the most important exchange of tokens between the Ji family and the Divine Ice Palace. The Ji family's token is the Ji family's tiger token, which can command a 1,000,000 iron floating pagoda army. So what about the Divine Ice Palace? Master, do we really have to hand over the ice god jade of the Divine Ice Palace to Ji Shu? Mu Bing frowned and asked. This is the rule. Mu Chu responded solemnly. What kind of rule is this? Mu Bing quietly retorted. Be careful with your words. Mu Chu glared at Mu Bing and said. After your wedding, Ji Shu will return the ice god jade, and then you can inherit the Divine Ice Palace. You will return the Ji family's tiger token to Ji Shu, so that he can inherit the Ji family. This is the rule. Ah, Mu Bing sighed helplessly and nodded. Go, Binger. Mu Chu patted Mu Bing's back. Meanwhile, grandmother Mu Hua also whispered in Ji Shu's ear. Go, show her. Don't disappoint your grandmother. Oh, Ji Shu nodded and thought to himself. So this is what they call a marriage alliance. If I don't marry Mu Bing in the future, I won't be able to mobilize the 1,000,000 Zan iron army of the Ji family. And if Mu Bing doesn't marry me in the future, she won't be able to become the palace master of the Divine Ice Palace. It seems, for the sake of this marriage alliance, grandmother Mu Hua and Aunt Mu Chu have really put in a lot of effort. Ji Shu sighed in his heart. Then, he arrived at the center of the purple smoke pavilion. Mu Bing, holding the ice god jade, also came in front of Ji Shu. Here, take it. Ji Shu handed the tiger token to Mu Bing. Take it. Mu Bing also handed the ice god jade to Ji Shu expressionlessly. When the two of them received their respective tokens, everyone present showed satisfied smiles. Grandmother Mu Hua and Aunt Mu Chu smiled at each other, both with a hint of satisfaction in their eyes. The most important ceremony is complete. The engagement is successful. The banquet begins. Ji Shu and Mu Bing naturally sit together. You thief, give back what you stole from me. Mu Bing warned Ji Shu in a low voice. Didn't I give back your bellyband? What else do you want? Ji Shu responded calmly. Mu Bing was speechless for a moment. She didn't expect Ji Shu's shamelessness to be so thick. Mu Bing took a deep breath and glared at Ji Shu before whispering. Did I say bellyband? I said, soul-devouring nail and heaven-nourishing pill. Ji Shu turned to look at Mu Bing's flawless and beautiful face with a puzzled expression. Never heard of it. Don't know. Eat more vegetables. After saying that, Ji Shu thoughtfully picked up a bite of vegetables for Mu Bing. Shameless. Mu Bing looked at Ji Shu's unrepentant look and felt a tightness in her chest. There was silence for a long time. She then continued. Fine, if you want it, I'll give it to you. But I want Ji Yu Yao. She could give Ji Shu the heaven-nourishing pill. She could even let go of the soul-devouring nail. But Ji Yu Yao, she absolutely couldn't let Ji Shu touch it. All right, Ji Shu nodded seriously in response to Mu Bing's words. How could he not know that all Mu Bing wanted from the beginning to the end was Ji Yu Yao? It was just a retreat to advance. You agree? Mu Bing looked at Ji Shu in surprise. I agree. Of course I agree. As long as Ji Yu Yao agrees, I have no objections. Ji Shu's expression was calm, as if Mu Bing's request was nothing major. Really, Mu Bing's eyes lit up, her plan succeeded. The corners of her mouth unconsciously curved upwards. She deliberately asked Ji Shu for the soul-devouring nail and heaven-nourishing pill before. Then she asked Ji Shu for Ji Yu Yao as a second choice. She thought that Ji Yu Yao was just Ji Shu's servant now. And Ji Shu had taken so many good things from her, he wouldn't even spare a servant, right? Hee hee. Ji Shu smiled slightly, then leaned in close to Mu Bing's ear and whispered. Really? Of course it's true. After saying that, the flying dragon cloud-piercing hand was activated. At this moment, Ji Shu's hand silently landed on Mu Bing's waist. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully stealing 200 Essence of Destiny. Just then, a cold voice sounded in Ji Shu's ear. Ji Shu, you don't want your hand anymore, huh? Upon hearing this, Ji Shu shrugged and retracted his hand, thinking to himself, 200 is better than nothing. ... Husband, don't they look perfect together? Lin Ru looked at Ji Shu and Mu Bing with a motherly smile. Yes, they are simply a match made in heaven. Ji Xiao nodded in agreement. This kid Ji Shu. He truly lives up to being my grandson. Talented. Indeed talented, just like me. Ji Nu also looked satisfied. Sister apprentice, I'll be back soon. Mu Chu put down her cup and spoke softly, looking at the bright moonlight. Be careful, Mu Hua nodded. She naturally knew what Mu Chu was going to do. Don't worry, Mu Chu smiled faintly. At the moment she walked out of the purple smoke pavilion, a terrifying killing intent flashed in her eyes. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.